Line into right field and fair. Junior scores easily. Salvi goes to third. Thomas is in there with a hustling double. Hit well to center field, and Thomas has a long run, and it's over his head. And Duran, boy, can he run. Good relay might get him, and he is out at third on a tremendous throw by Bobby Witt Jr.
Swinging a high fly ball, right field deep. That's way back into the corner. She's sailing. She is gone. Home run, Jarren Duran. What a night for him. A 3-run shot here in Kansas City. He has been spectacular defensively, and tonight he makes it 6-1 with a blast in the ninth.
All right, a Wednesday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you a lot of stuff to get into and talk about today. Some fun, most of it not so fun, but we're going to do it together, all right? Huh? We're in this together. We're all one big happy family, okay? And we're going to work through this. Whatever it is that we're going to be working through, we'll find a way. We'll get to the finish line, everybody. The finish line for us is 2 o'clock. Then then we hand the baton off to him, and he tries to take it the rest of the way. Let's hope he does not raise his hand before the finish line, because then 810 will be disqualified before 6 o'clock. You don't want that.
Do we think Rashid Rice's favorite movie is High Times at Ridgemont High?
Probably.
Fast Times, but it'd be
Fast
High Times.
But
well,
High
you know what? Fast Times at Ridgemont
Fast Times
High.
at Ridgemont High is both. That's actually his favorite movie.
That's his favorite movie, yeah.
Yep.
Do we think that he was given the option? His options were watch Royals baseball or go to jail, and so he just lit up a bowl and was like, "Oh yeah, it's fine. I'd prefer to go to jail."
Part of his probation actually was to watch Royals baseball, and the only way he could get through it was by getting high. That makes sense. Now, you know what? I don't feel bad. I actually feel bad for him now. I get it, because I don't do any of that stuff, but they've almost pushed me to finding some way to get through those games. You know the way I got through it last night? Click. When Duran got a hold of that baseball, click. And by the way, the click was just on my iPad. I didn't even have to. I didn't have to turn anything
I
over.
thought you watched the movie.
Yes,
Click.
that's exactly. I fast forwarded through the rest of the season so I could get to Chiefs football.
Yeah,
that's what I did. Don't do that with your life.
What about the NBA game? That's right.
That's what I did. Like, I had the NBA game on my TV,
and I go, great, the Knicks are collapsing. This is going to be a 30-point blowout.
Yes, I had the Royals game on my iPad because we had baseball practice last night. So I got home and I watched it from the beginning. And let me tell you, knowing what the first inning was. Watching some of the, just looking at the box score or the play-by-play as we were at practice, just not watching it, but seeing what it was. And what I was really interested in, by the way, is Kaggs against Suarez, his first at bat. And I see that he grounded out. I'm like, that sucks. Imagine my surprise when I got home and watched it and thought, hold on, they didn't reverse this call?
Yeah.
Hold up. I'm watching and I'm going, well, he's safe, but I know he grounded out. They don't reverse this? Anyway, that's besides the point.
Totally cool with the umpire getting it wrong. I understand getting that wrong on the field. That was very
tough one.
Understandable to get wrong.
You didn't realize that he wore 24 shoes. You didn't know that Kaggs had size 24 shoes. I understand it, okay? You didn't think his heel could hit that far away from the bag and his toes still touch the bag. Understandable to get it wrong.
Replay? What are you doing in Secaucus?
The bag is
Where's replay for baseball?
Sure, let's call it Secaucus. Let's call it there. I don't know. It's wherever they play Little League baseball is where it was last night. But the bag, you could see his foot pushing the bag in while Suarez's foot was still in the air. That's pretty obvious. Anyway, besides the point, so I was watching it back on my iPad, so it's much easier to fast forward doing that rather than the clicker. But when that ball was hit and it stayed fair, just X out. I'll just keep watching this. I'll watch this other collapse going on right now. I'll watch James Harden be in the basketball version of the Royals offense. I'll watch that guy do what he did, and I'll watch, them leave with, 15 different timeouts. So we'll talk a little NBA at some point today. We think we'll get into it at some point. Jeff Montgomery, Monty, on a Wednesday, we talk with him. We'll talk with him at noon today. No afternoon game for the Royals, just the night game, off day tomorrow. as Denny would say, a real off day, a true off day. An off day is when you go to bed in your bed, wake up, don't play baseball, go to bed in your bed. Very few of those, the Royals will have one tomorrow. Let's hope they can get a win on their way to sleeping in their own bed.
I have been very generous.
You have?
With the Royals.
You've given them lots of money.
Being horrendous.
Uh-huh.
I think they need to switch things up. So I will
Sterling
be going
Holmes.
to the game tonight.
Oh, really?
My largesse knows no bounds.
There you go.
I will go to the game.
You're willing to do that for everybody? Good for you.
I will do it.
Okay.
I will do it, and if they play bad, I will heckle.
You should. There was some booing last night, by the way.
As there should have been.
Probably should have been louder. After the toot blands going on with this team, it's rather embarrassing. But we'll talk with Jeff Montgomery coming up at noon about those things. I'll get his thoughts on Bailey Falter, Luinder Avila, 3 innings, 50 pitches. Maybe next go around he's the starter, and maybe they just let him go. Maybe they don't need an opener. Maybe they don't need a bullpen game next go around. They did extend his pitch count a little bit. Quatrero said last night, well, yeah, along the way he may need to be used, but if we get to that point and he's available, yeah, it's something that we will definitely talk about. I would say along the way, maybe don't use him if you don't need him, if you have other options there, and see the next, in 5 days or 6 with the off day, if Avila is the guy that goes out there on the mound, or if they like the lefty then coming in with Avila right after that. So you mix up the lineup for the other team where they've got to go heavy righties, then you bring an Avila that's good against righties, then they got to bring somebody off the bench in like the 4th inning.
Sure.
So you limit their bench late in the game. That's part of strategy, certainly. As opposed to if you go righty-lefty, are you doing the same things? I don't know. So anyway, we'll talk some Royals today. Mick Schaefer will join us at 1 o'clock. An hour from now, we'll be talking with Steve Lebin, who is the Associate Dean of School of Law at UMKC, Missouri Distinguished Professor of Law. And we will talk with him about what all of this means for Rashee Rice. What it means moving forward for Rashee Rice. What it means for the Kansas City Chiefs, which he may not be able to weigh in on. But a guy who was a trial judge for 14 years in Johnson County, an appellate judge for 13 years, and has been at the School of Law for UMKC since 2020. So, and criminal law is one of the courses that he specializes in. So we will talk with him about these things and his perspective on it.
Here's a law question.
Knowing that he does not practice or, is not a judge in Texas.
Yeah.
But the guy knows a lot more than what you and I could offer.
I would want to know this question specifically.
Let's ask
him.
And
this is, again, you got to ask it like a lawyer so that way he doesn't think, because he can't get in the head of Rashee Rice. But when guys get popped on probation, is it a situation where they thought they could get away with it? Or the majority of the time, is it a thought they could get away with it or a thought that they don't care? Because I would like to know, like, a lot of those times, like, how hard are these tests? Do a lot of times people think they can pass these weed tests, or do they just go, you know what? I don't care. I don't care. Pop me if you're gonna pop me. I don't care. Because I would like to know the majority breakdown of that. Like, does Rashee Rice, does he know? Did he think he could get away with the THC, or did he think, I don't care, pop me, I gotta go to jail either way?
I have my thoughts on this, and we can just go ahead and get into it. One of the things that I'm going to ask him coming up at 11 o'clock is, what's the message that's sent to the court? Like, I think it's almost worse that people go, I mean, it's something small like that. Like, are we really talking about, you in here for some marijuana? If you know that scene, I'm not going to continue doing that scene. If you remember that scene from Half-Baked. Something as small or mundane or legal in these parts here, that really, like, that's the big deal? And because it seems that way, quote unquote, or is viewed that way by some, what is the message that the court receives when that happens? Because I would wonder if it's like, okay, he was driving, he was speeding, he got in a car accident. Maybe it was something that was like, man, kind of unavoidable. It's something that you and I could have done just out there driving. And yeah, you're going 8 miles over the speed limit and an accident happens. It's not what took place in Texas, but it's like, dude, now you're driving and this is a bigger deal rather than, okay, so we got smoking some weed, which the NFL is even saying, not that big of a deal anymore. In fact, we're going to make the testing so high, pun intended, that you're not going to actually test positive for it. Okay? You're going to have to be like on a 3-day bender of just specifically THC for you to be able to test positive for this, okay? What the legal limit is like 38.38 or something like that nanograms of milliliter, whatever the way you want to call it. But 38 is the number to look at. The NFL, for driving, the NFL's testing threshold is 150.
Oh, my gosh.
So the NFL is saying you aren't going to test positive for marijuana, okay? So there's the NFL side of this. But I do wonder what the court receives this. What's the message that the court takes from this when it's like, you had all of these things that you had to follow, and your 5-year probation would have been cut down in half to 2.5 years if you simply did these things, served your 30 days, which we allowed you to do at your own pace, in your own time. You're 10 months in, and you've already tested positive and violated one of those different parts of your probation, and you haven't served a day in jail yet. You haven't done any of your 30 days. What have you been doing since January? I understand maybe last year you say, well, this whole thing came down in July. You got training camp. You got the regular season. It's tough for you to be able to do that. Understandable. Your work and business is very busy from like July to January. And if you don't serve any days there, understandable. That's why we're giving you, quote unquote, 5 years. But if you follow that, the 5 years can be cut in half to 2.5. That was part of his plea agreement. We talk about a 5-year probation. It's really 2.5 if he just did what he was supposed to do. And then the whole thing goes away. And his guilty plea, all of that goes away because of the deferred probation. And all you got to do is serve 30 days along the way and not do some of these other things. You haven't served a day in the correctional facilities in Texas, and you haven't had to work since January 5th. January, February, March, April, May. 4.5 months since you last had to work. Everything else has been voluntary. He didn't show up to rookie minicamp. The other stuff is voluntary. Since you've had to work, you've had 4.5 months and you haven't served a day, and now you test positive for one of the stipulations that you must follow as part of your probation. To me, that tells the court, I don't really care. I'm not taking this seriously because remember the statement that he gave when he pled guilty and he got the probation, the deferred probation, 30 days with, by the way, 2 different felonies that each have a prison sentence of 2 to 10 years. The minimum prison sentence for each is 2 years. He was given 15 days court for each instead of 2 years. You're talking about 24 months or 15 days for each of them. Now, whether that's served consecutively or concurrently, that would all be up to the judge and everything like that. I doubt it would be served, consecutively and all of that. Probably, hey, 2 years for this, 2 years for that, served at the same time. But one of those things, as you get to conditions of community supervision, you get to number 13. Submit a non-diluted random urine sample and or medical test breathalyzer test at the request of the supervision officer to determine the use of illicit drugs or alcohol. Number 14. Do not possess, consume, or purchase any alcoholic beverages or illegal controlled substances during the term of supervision. So when people are like, it's legal, not for him. Alcohol's legal, not for him. He couldn't even purchase it, possess it, drink it, none of it. He had to take a breathalyzer and he had to take a urine sample every month for the next 30 months, 2.5 years, up to 5 years. That's what he had to do. You keep your nose clean, you go play good football, you get what? 30 million on the conservative side for him. I'm talking about total contract.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
2 year, 30 years.
2 years, 3 years, $30 million total. It's like $10 million a year for Rashee Rice. That could be a guy that's a high number 2, pun intended, low number 1. $10 million a year? Yeah, that's MVS money. $30 million with maybe 20 of that guaranteed. He is 8 months away. Talk about March, 10 months away. 10 months away from maybe getting $20 million guaranteed. 10 months away. And he couldn't simply do this. And you're going to tell me that when, we'll do this in a child's version. You tell the children in class, all right, everybody, no talking for the next 3 minutes, okay? If anybody talks in 3 minutes, next 3 minutes, you are going to miss recess, whatever. No talking, 3 minutes, please. And Rashee Rice, 30 seconds in, was like, oh my God, I hate it. It was 3 minutes. And you couldn't even go a minute. It was 30 months. I know that it was a 5-year probation, but again, that can be cut in half down to 2.5 years. You lasted 10. You went 10 months without violating it. And by the way, you still got the rest of your probation. Yeah. I'll ask Steve Levin this. I assume the answer, but I brought it up in a comparison to hockey, and I said, so like probation for him specifically, and you'd have to read the fine details. So if he violates his probation and immediately has to serve the 30 days in jail, is it like a hockey power play where you get the goal and then everything goes away? Or do you still have to continue to serve the power play even though they got the goal? Yeah. Do you still have to be there, the 5-minute major? You know, he's still got to go and serve it. The difference is, and this is where I think it's really interesting, and again, coming up at 11 o'clock, I'm interested to hear what he has to say about this, but Rashee Rice has already pleaded guilty. There's no going back in front of the judge and going, well, I don't want to plead guilty to that and that. He's already pleaded guilty to 2 third-degree felonies. You can't go back on that now. It's already a guilty plea. It's in there. There's no new trial. There's no new plea agreement. That was the plea agreement. And what I would wonder is, each of these offenses carries 2 to 10 years of a prison sentence. The judge is already pissed off. That's why he said 30 days right now. Yeah. Bring him in here for a hearing, 30 days immediately. We're not going to mess around anymore. We gave you 5 years to serve 30 days. You haven't served one, and now 10 months in, you violated. Go to jail. Do not pass go. Go to jail. Right now, 30 days. If he violates it again, it's not a trial. It's a hearing in front of the judge. And the way I understand it is the judge would have some leeway to go, you know what, dude? You clearly have not taken this seriously. Now I'm giving you 24 months. Oh, you've served 30 days, 23 months. I'm giving you the minimum. It's not just he served 30 days and that's all he had to do. Now, it could be that extreme. It could be, okay, well, now we're going to add a couple more years to your probation. We're going to add more things here. We're going to add more community service hours. We're going to do this. We're going to give you another 15 days in jail, something like that. But there's no going back on the guilty plea. He's already done that. You can't relitigate that. And I'm really interested into if he does this again. And man, it seems like the if is in small letters, while the when is in capital letters, W-H-E-N. If/when he violates it again, what happens at that point? Because the judge is clearly pissed. Yeah. That's what I would take from it, is the judge saying, go to jail right now. You're here. You ain't leaving till June 16th. Go to jail.
I don't think anyone is surprised when this came through. And that's probably the most telling. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, can you believe that Rashee Rice didn't stay clean on his probation? It was like, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I've just sort of been waiting for this.
And I love that people are saying, well, he just had surgery, so it's chess, not checkers, to go to jail now. He could have had surgery and still gone.
He could have then served his 30 days, just said, I'm going to do it right now.
And by the way, you know what's great for rehab?
That person's playing...
being in jail.
That person's playing Candyland. They're not playing checkers or chess, the person that said that.
I've never heard anyone's rehab philosophy is, you know what? I'm going to go to jail to rehab. I hear they got some great doctors in there to help you rehab.
Patrick takes Julie with him to Texas. Can Rasheed take one of the trainers with him to the Texas Correctional Facility for 30 days and rehab there?
I'm moving on, by the way.
I hope the Chiefs do.
I'm done with this ordeal. If you want to talk about trust and how that's the big thing for Andy and Veach, and you can't lie, and that was the Kareem Hunt situation, I think also part of it is this is breaking their trust because the Chiefs trusted you, stood through you through all of this, didn't draft a wide receiver high, didn't bring in a free agent wide receiver, and said, you know what? We believe that you are our wide receiver one for at least one more year. We'll let you be the guy here. We'll let you try and go out and earn a lot of money, and we're trusting you to be that. Okay, Rasheed? And how does Rasheed respond? By doing this.
Not repaying the trust.
But I mean, if you're Veach and Andy, whoever was the decision maker in the not bringing in more highly touted receivers, they spent a fifth rounder, obviously. But
I wonder what we'd be saying, though, if Mansour Delane went fifth. Or
sure.
They couldn't trade number 6
or because Tyson,
because the Chiefs talked about, well, their plan B was Tyson, and then so I think hearing that, Sterling, part of the plan was to address receiver. It just wasn't nearly as high on their list as cornerback was.
But if it was receiver, they could have also gotten Juwan Jennings in free agency for the price that he signed for.
Totally.
And so,
totally.
Again, I think part of that was their faith, their trust in Rashee Rice. And Rashee Rice broke that trust by not paying it back. Now, that's also on the Chiefs. Because if a tiger shows you what a tiger is, and you're surprised the tiger bit your arm, it's a tiger. He showed you.
The leopard's not going to bite my face.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
I compare it to the Chiefs are in a toxic relationship with Rashee Rice. He's cheating on them, and they're staying because they have no other options. They don't think that they can do better.
They're like, we're broke. We have nowhere to go.
We have nothing else.
We have no money.
We have nothing else.
I guess we'll stay.
I guess I got nothing else.
That's a great call,
Look,
Darcy.
every once in a while, she's really nice to me. And she is kind of a smoke show. And, yeah, it's not very often. You know, it's been pretty sporadic. But when we're good, we're good. And it is great. I can't trust her, though. But when she's around and invested in our relationship, it's one of the best relationships ever, and all my friends are jealous because she's so hot.
On the hot crazy scale, Rashee Rice is not hot. He's just crazy.
I love that, the hot crazy scale. But I want to bring something up real quick before we take a break.
That more shirts will be getting made?
I tweeted out, by today, can we make some free from 4 shirts? Free, parentheses, from 4? Like it was dumb at the time. We talked about it, how stupid it was at the time. It not only was a bad look, it was just a terrible decision. And Kelsey wore it too. Like, he was part of that. Thank God Mahomes wasn't wearing it. But you lose you lose the high ground in you saying, or the moral high ground of you saying, Rashee, you can't do this or this, and this is not how we conduct ourselves, when anybody that wore that shirt has nothing to say to Rashee Rice. Kelsey, whatever, nothing to say to Rashee Rice. Because you essentially said, oh, well, Rashee Rice didn't do it. Free him from the league. From his own actions?
Yeah.
Free him from the consequences of his own actions. Like, that's absurd. But when we talked about when Rashee Rice had some drops and struggled, or go back a little bit more, when Rashee Rice was awesome in a couple of games, it's podium game, baby. Smiles, how great it is, all of this stuff, what I learned, it's great. Everybody got to eat. Then he drops a couple passes. Then they start losing. Then he dodges the media. Then he leaves early. Then he leaves early and gives a smirk, sort of a half-wry smile at the media. And when we talked about it, the amount of people that, who cares? Media think they're entitled. You aren't entitled to talk to everybody. Who cares? Here's the point that we made at the time and now. When has he held himself accountable? When has he held himself accountable and not felt like he was the victim? The biggest thing he told us that he learned about this incident is that he can handle adversity. That's what he learned. He learned the selfish part about what I can handle adversity. Not, I created the adversity, and I did this to myself, and I must learn to be more mature, and I must learn to make better decisions. And I must learn that when I'm away from the facility, I also still have to live a disciplined life. Because now I have to live an even more disciplined life because I'm ordered to by the court. The freedoms that I did enjoy are no longer there. That's part of breaking the law. But it's legal. Not for him. He broke the law. It's not legal for him. The accountability has been lacking with him. And it was viewed through the prism of leaving the locker room early when he had some bad games and staying there and all smiles and holding court when he had some good games. It's a front runner. And you can view it as, well, who cares what the media thinks? The media thinks they're entitled. Okay, well, we told you at the time. This is an accountability thing. You know who's talking after every game? Right across Truman Sports Complex? It's Vinny. Bobby. Hold themselves accountable. Patrick has to talk every game. He has bad games. He has to talk. It's required by the NFL, but there's an accountability. He hasn't been that way. The adversity he created was what he learned that he could handle. And he clearly couldn't handle it because he was given something that he had to do a number of different things over the course of 2.5 years up to 5 years, and he didn't last more than 10 months. So even his selfish learning of what I've learned is all about me and handling adversity that I created, that was also not true. Because the adversity is also having to change your lifestyle from what you used to enjoy. We'll take a time out, come back, continue rolling. What do the Chiefs do? What are the options that the Chiefs have? What should they do? We talk about that on the other side of the break. More Zone next. All right, men, if you're out there and you happen to be suffering from erectile dysfunction, if it happened once or twice and you laughed it off, no big deal. Well, Heartland Men's Health is here to help you. They have treatments with success rates well over 90%. Maybe it's an easy fix and you've tried the pills or the herbals and sort of a one-size-fits-all type thing. Maybe that's worked for you, great. Maybe it's not working anymore. It's failed or never worked at all. That's where Heartland Men's Health comes in because it is specifically designed for you and whatever the underlying condition is. They have been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. Simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit, it's only $99, and that includes a medical consult with a licensed medical provider, a T and PSA test, and a medically advised test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. If it does, there you go. They have an expert staff with 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. Wednesday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Jeff Montgomery coming up at noon. Steve Levin, the Associate Dean of School of Law at UMKC. Someone we'll talk to about what the latest is and what the implications are moving forward. Also a trial judge for 14 years in Johnson County and an appellate judge for 13 years. We'll talk with him about some of the things going on with Rashee Rice. Let's talk about it from the Chiefs' perspective now. The Chiefs have made this bed where they went into the offseason and we knew there was a need at wide receiver. We knew this time next year or going into the draft next year, free agency next year, they would have to figure out how they were going to replace Travis Kelce, potentially Rashee Rice, depending on a contract extension or not, which I would hope is out the window now. But they did this a year ago with the running back position and thought it'll fix itself. It'll be fine. And this offseason, it felt like, well, with the running game and a different type of game plan, not scheme, but plays and parts of a scheme that we already implement, we're just going to do it in different fashion or more often in different ways. We don't have to go out and address the wide receiver spot because Rashee Rice will be there all season. Xavier Worthy had the shoulder injury, which really impacted his ability last year and how much they used him in the game plan, as Andy Reid said after the season was over. Whether that's an excuse or not, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt because it didn't seem like some of the things he did his rookie year he was doing last year. Okay, and he is a tough dude. He's going to play. He played with the broken finger at Texas, or whatever it was at Texas that he played through. Last year, didn't he, catch a pass and, jam his finger and then pop it back into place and do, the first down, not last year, but the year before, his rookie year? He is a tough dude. There's no questioning Xavier Worthy's toughness. So him playing with the brace and the shoulder injury, fully expected him to play as much as he could and not just miss extra time, because that's one of the things that was talked about him coming into the league, and I think he's proven that since he's been in the league. But it doesn't mean he's full return to ability, right? Level of play. But they made this decision in the offseason, and the moves that they made, that they were going to be reliant upon a healthy Xavier Worthy, an available Rashee Rice, maybe a motivated Rashee Rice going into a contract year, maybe a more integrated Tyquan Thornton to the offense, another year in the offense for Jalen Royals, and then what? Before the draft. And then what? Now we know a fifth-round draft pick in Cyrus Allen. I would like the Chiefs to simply cut bait and move on. I'm done with the conversation around Rashee Rice for the last 3 years. When he's been on the field, there are times when he's been good. But when the season started going bad last year, he started tanking. Tanking's not the word. Loafing. He started taking plays off. The second play, the scramble drill, there are all 22s where he just stops running. That in and of itself should cost you playing time. But maybe he wasn't coached well. Maybe there wasn't an accountability with the coaches. And again, there's that word. You know where the accountability should be? When you're looking in the mirror. That's what the accountability should be for a professional player in the NFL, for a team that claims and talks about a lot, oh, the culture here is different. The culture is different. You better figure out what the culture is, or they'll move on from you. Oh, yeah? Prove it. Prove it that you'll move on. The only one you moved on from was Kareem Hunt because he lied to Clark Hunt. Veach and Andy didn't have a choice at that point. Clark said, get him the hell out of here. He looked at me in the face and lied to me. Don't want him. Get him out. We got other options. We'll figure it out. Now it's on tape. There's the culture that was held to a certain standard. Where's the culture of you don't stop working? Where's the culture of holding yourself to the standard that your quarterback is doing everything he can to return? We're going to be talking about training camp for the Chiefs and talking about Patrick Mahomes coming off an ACL and LCL injury and Rashee Rice coming off a 30-day stint in jail. Returning from that.
Both in Texas.
That's a good call. And Mahomes is, serving some of his rehab in Texas, going down there from time to time and doing that.
Both are working out in Texas. One at his hometown field and one in working out in jail.
Now he's got the knee injury, or at least the cleanup, because of some loose bodies in the knee. So you got the unknown with that. And now you've got 30 days in jail where you're not rehabbing. You're not rehabbing at the level you could be rehabbing with the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, at what point does this quote-unquote culture actually show in actions and not in just fake-ass words?
Yes.
You know why you talk about the culture? Because you win. So you can talk about the culture all you want, because you win. You win. It's easy to, this is a winning culture here. It's the culture here. It's winning culture. Yeah, we want to win Super Bowls here. Okay, that's the culture. That's the winning culture. But part of it also is, we'll kind of look the other way if need be. Depending on who you are, we'll look the other way. And as long as you don't lie apparently to Clark Hunt, then you're all good. You could probably look at Andy Reid in the face and lie, or Brett Veach in the face and lie, and say you're doing these things, and you're not doing them. But as long as you're needed, they may look the other way. You look at them in the face and lie, they can look right or left and not actually make eye contact with you. Just don't lie to Clark Hunt, apparently, because that's when the culture really matters.
This whole offseason has been about accountability. You bring back Eric Bieniemy. Like, that's been the storyline, is accountability. We're moving on from some of these guys. We're moving on from wide receiver coach. We're moving on from Matt Nagy because accountability was missing. So here's Eric Bieniemy. Well, now you have a chance to prove it. Prove the accountability. Here's your chance. It's a big one. Do you believe in accountability, or is that just words?
Or you believe in accountability when it's convenient because, well, you need Rashee Rice this year because you didn't address wide receivers, so you can't really move on from him now because you don't really have anybody to take his place. So it's tough to be accountable, or it's tough to have the culture and accountability. Whereas if you drafted Jordan Tyson, we can move on from Rashee Rice. Yeah, it's culture. It's all about culture here.
I just find it even more frustrating when you see what Patrick's trying to go through, and then you see Rashee do this. And let's be real, he got semi-bailed out by being a professional athlete. I think that, at least. I think if you, myself, Darcy, 98% of people did what he did, the first thing, and bailed and fled from the scene, we're in jail.
For a couple of reasons. One, we probably don't have the money for the lawyer to be able to do some of those.
I think a lot of things. And so, for me, he got off lucky.
Yeah.
And so you get a gift. And this is how it's shown. And we always say the contract year is undefeated. It looks like it's going to be defeated. Because this was his chance to be a legit wide receiver one. They didn't bring in anyone to take over that spot. He had a chance to prove who he is. He proved who he is. A guy you can't count on. And if I'm Kansas City, it's time to cut bait. You just have to. Do we think Rashee Rice is going to make this team 3 wins better? Is that what we think? I don't think so. Does it suck for Patrick to have to come back off of injury and be without Rashee? He's been with Rashee the majority of his career. Rashee Rice in 3 years has played 28 games. And I don't want to hear about, freak injuries or suspend. That's him.
He's going to serve more days in jail than he has games played for the Chiefs.
Correct. Availability matters. He's not available. For injury or not, he is not available. You cannot count on him. Move on.
You have said in the past, the Chiefs have, and this is where, I've talked about in the offseason that I wish they would get away from this philosophy. But they've said in the past, look, Patrick, the wide receiver room's a little thin. We're going to need you to go and make people better. Okay? It's okay to give him talent, to give him players, to give him high-level players that he can make even better. And not just take a room that's filled with also-rans Although, first rounder, second rounder. They've spent some draft capital on some of these receivers. Sky Moore not there anymore.
Sky second, McColl second, Rasheed second, Xavier first.
You had guys that were, second-round picks, first-round picks.
MVS was a first-rounder at one point. Kadarius Toney was a first-rounder at one point.
Gave up a third-rounder for him. He gave up $10 million for MVS per year, or $11 million, whatever it was per year, for the number of years he was with the Chiefs. But they have said a number of times to Patrick Mahomes, you're going to need to make these guys better. You're going to need to be Patrick Mahomes and elevate the wide receiver room and your weapons. Then say it here. If you've been willing to say it in the past by not going out and addressing that to a larger degree, then say it now. And say, sorry, Patrick, you understand here. We can't do this anymore with this guy. Because do we trust between whenever he gets out of jail, June 16th, through January whatever, and let's hope late January and February, that nothing else is going to happen? Yeah. Just cut bait. Just move on. Move on. Let another team deal with him. Let him go and get his bleep together, and hopefully he does. Because whatever the culture is not helping him. Because he is not following suit. If you're saying the culture is what will help Rashee Rice be a better citizen and follow the particular rules that were given to him based on his probation, being here is better than not being here. He has proven that that is not the case.
And by the way, Clark Hunt cannot be happy right now. Clark Hunt, who wanted a Christmas game, wanted an international game, gets neither. Well, he gets headlines.
He gets some headlines, baby.
I can't imagine he's a happy camper.
Yeah. How much are the Chiefs willing to accept? And is it really the sliding scale of talent versus issues off the field? And are we really talking about the sliding scale of a guy who is talented sometimes when he plays?
Never's put up 1,000 yards.
Doesn't play. And when he plays, it's bubble screens and slants. And that's it. You can't find that somewhere? Can't go get Debo? Let Debo run bubble screens and slants for you. Have other guys actually run routes. Not have to worry about, whatever Rashee Rice is doing. We'll take a time out. More on next.
With all that nonsense going on, here is some good news. I'm talking FanDuel. This is your reminder to check in daily because every day during the NBA playoffs, FanDuel is serving up a happy hour. You can even drive after this happy hour. You're not going to wake up hungover after this happy hour. This is the one for you. We're talking special drops you don't want to miss, from profit boost to bonus bets and so much more. Anyone get in on the Knicks when they were down, 20 in the fourth quarter? If you did, you're probably rewarded with a nice little reward there. And oh, by the way, is that the worst bad beat I've ever had? I had the Cavs to cover. Jason, Cavs didn't cover.
What happened?
Cavs didn't cover. Knicks win by 11, but I still had a great time watching that game. Yeah, I know.
7.5.
Yeah, 7.5. Yeah, it didn't happen. But it doesn't matter because I had a lot of fun on FanDuel. And there's always rewards waiting for you. So check out a new reward every single day of the NBA playoffs, and don't miss your shot to get a little extra out of the action. A game on tonight, Spurs and Thunder, Game 2. Choice is up to you. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, wrapping up this hour, we will talk with Steve Levin, Associate Dean of School of Law at UMKC, trial judge in Johnson County for 14 years as well, and a Missouri Distinguished Professor of Law. We'll talk with him coming up on the other side of the break. Just for the lay out there, like myself and really us on this show, what does this mean now for Rashee Rice moving forward, and the different options he may have now as he's serving the 30 days.
As a guy who took a business law class in college, I feel pretty confident I know what's going to happen. Tort.
Yeah. Look, communications law in college, you don't get an A in that class. Okay.
You get a C in it.
I got an A. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, The Zone on a Wednesday. We'll talk with Jeff Montgomery coming up at noon. Royals baseball game 3 of the 3-game set with the Red Sox coming up tonight. Already lost this series, trying to avoid a sweep like they did the previous series. We'll see what they can do tonight with Michael Wacha on the mound. The big news that took place yesterday regarding the Kansas City Chiefs, Rashee Rice, we talked about it in the first hour, talked a little bit about it yesterday because it came out right before our show ended on Tuesday. But right now, very pleased to welcome in Steve Lieben, Associate Dean of School of Law at UMKC, trial judge in Johnson County for 14 years, and also appellate judge for 13 years. Steve, welcome into the show. I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So let's start with this for the layperson and start from the ground up with what it means for Rashee Rice. What is, as we say, deferred probation that he agreed to? What does that entail when the judge gives him deferred probation for 5 years with some of these other things that go along with it?
Right. States differ in terms of the way things work. Some states have a system where you can defer the actual adjudication. So what occurred, Rashee Rice, back at the time that the case was resolved, entered into a guilty plea, but the court did not go ahead and find him guilty. They didn't adjudicate the case. They instead put the case on hold so that if over a 5-year period of probation supervision, he successfully completes that, the case will go away and he will not end up with conviction on his record. So for 2 third-degree felonies, and those are punishable in Texas by 2 to 10 years in prison, that's a very good agreement on his behalf. I can't say that it's something other people wouldn't have been able to get. Plea agreements are a common thing, but certainly a good resolution from his standpoint that if he completed the probation terms within that 5-year period, he doesn't end up having even a criminal conviction on his record.
So if as we know, the violation of probation took place, does that then mean that he is now officially guilty of this by serving the 30 days?
No. So what the court did in yesterday's hearing was receive the report that he had tested positive for THC. The court then decided one of the terms of his supervision was that sometime during the 5-year period he would have to spend 30 days in jail. The court decided we will go ahead and have that 30 days imposed now and took him directly into custody at the court hearing. So the 30 days that he's serving now is part of the original plea agreement. Mm-hmm. It just was something that he, until yesterday, had a choice of when he would serve it. He had chosen not to serve it yet, and he lost the ability to control the timing of it by violating one of the terms of his supervision.
Steve Lieben is our guest. Is it typically to, again, this is where the lay person comes in for me, is it typical to have a maybe probation that would be catered specifically to individuals, or maybe is it more boilerplate blanket requirements for just anybody that enters into a plea?
Yeah, that also varies by jurisdiction, and I can't say what's normal in Dallas County, Texas. When I was on the Johnson County District Court bench here in Kansas, sometimes some of the judges would always use the same provisions. And, for example, a standard provision at that time on a felony probation in Johnson County was that they not use alcohol. In my view, if alcohol was not one of their problems that caused criminal behavior, I didn't include that in my probation terms. So some judges will try to form the probation terms specifically for each defendant. Some judges use standard forms. The provisions that were in his supervision required that he get a drug and alcohol evaluation and plan. We, of course, don't know what was in that about what his situation might be, but he also was under a requirement that he submit urine samples or medical testing anytime his supervisor requested it to determine whether he'd used any illicit drugs or alcohol. And he's in Texas, where marijuana remains illegal, and had THC in his system.
So from that standpoint, because one of the reactions has been, and understandable with the way that we view marijuana in today's day and age and how it's legal in so many different states, whether medicinally or simply recreationally, what I've seen is specifically with Rishi, where it's a quote unquote, this seems pretty mundane or a small infraction, and now he's, now being forced to serve the 30 days that he was already going to have to serve anyway, just has to do it right now. But from a guy who served as a judge for so long, how does the court receive this to where someone would say, well, that seems mundane, but it's part of what he was ordered to follow when entering in this plea that he agreed to do. It wasn't he was forced to do. He agreed to this plea. How is that received to the court when something like that happens as a judge, and now you're presented back with this, particular person again, and he didn't follow those things with something that seems, well, that's kind of minor.
Right. So part of the issue here is, are you showing responsibility and remorse for what you've done? And the basic question is, did you learn a lesson, or are you in a position where the same behaviors are likely to occur? And when someone is put on conditions in a supervision, it's intended to get them into a position where they are following rules and showing some level of maturity. So as a judge, you would be concerned that failure to comply is a problem. Now, in truth, in many probation situations, there are violations like this. It doesn't result here. It did not result in a revocation of his probation and moving on to an adjudication of his guilt and actually sentencing him to prison. That judge and the prosecutor, presumably the prosecutor requested, and the judge then entered a lesser sanction, which was just deciding now is the time you will serve the jail sentence. But in this particular situation, in addition to the 2 felony charges, each of which has the 2 to 10 year sentence, he also had an agreed judgment that was entered in a civil case for $1,075,000. We don't know whether that's been paid or not, but we do know that the whole set of circumstances he was involved in were serious. He didn't really exercise any responsibility at the day of the accident, and the judge would be wanting to see that he does show responsibility.
Visiting with Steve Liebman.
I'm sure the judge is hoping he'll learn. I'm sure the judge is hoping he'll learn in the next 30 days and do better.
Yeah, and hopefully this now is sort of a wake-up call in the seriousness of this whole thing, that, hey, that 30 days is happening, and it's happening right now, and you're going to miss time with the Chiefs. And Steve Liebman is our guest. As a judge, and this may be away from Rashee Rice specifically and maybe just in general, and I know every course is going to be looked at from an individual standpoint, but he was given his own time frame to serve the 30 days over, 5 years, and can serve it 2 days here, a week there. I understand that when he entered in this plea in July, well, his work schedule got really busy from that point until January 4th. Would it have mattered to you if he's back in front of you middle May, and since January 5th, he's had a lot of time off and he hasn't served any days of the 30 days? Would that have mattered to you?
I think that would matter much less than whether he's violated the conditions of his supervision.
Well, I mean, if he comes into you because he violated it, then you go, well, you haven't even served any of these days. Are you really showing remorse and wanting to get this done?
Right, but the agreement that was entered into with the state's approval and the court's approval was that he had the choice of when to serve that 30 days. So that was already in the books.
Yeah.
And so I would not count that against him if it were my case, but I would be concerned about the failure to follow conditions. The 30 days that he's doing now, the hope would be that That's an experience that he's not had, to sit for 30 days in a jail facility, knowing that there is the possibility of spending a much longer time there if he can't get things together.
Steve Liebman is our guest, Associate Dean, School of Law at UMKC, trial judge in Johnson County for 14 years, and appellate judge for 13 years. That would be my next question here is, it was a 5-year probation sentence, and 10 months in, he's violated it. I hope this is a huge wake-up call, and then, everything is good with his life moving forward. If something else happens moving forward for him and he does violate probation, at what point would he have to then go back in front of the judge, and we might be talking about the minimum 2 years up to 10 years of prison time if another violation happens? Would that be something that is still on the docket for him, even though the plea agreement was 30 days? Can he still, if he were to not follow these provisions, be in front of the judge to maybe face, much harsher prison time?
That's certainly a possibility. As I mentioned before, probation violations are not uncommon, and they vary in severity. And so it's not possible to forecast today. I don't know what was said orally in the courtroom by the judge to him. The judge might have said, any further violation is going to result in us moving to adjudication. But my sense is it more likely is going to be based on what has actually occurred, how serious is the next violation if he has one.
Yeah,
he certainly has control at this point.
Yeah.
All he has to do is follow the terms that were in the conditions of community supervision that he agreed to.
Yeah, so like technically, even though like the 30 days he was sentenced to serve at his own, time, now that he's serving it right now, it doesn't mean that he is out of the woods for additional prison time if he doesn't continue to follow the provisions here. More prison time can be added on, even though the plea agreement was for only 30 days.
Well, so the 30 days is served in a jail facility, not the state prison.
Okay. Yep.
So there's a small difference there. Yeah. My guess, although I have not tried to research possible sanctions that could be entered by the court down in Texas, usually there would be the possibility of adding some additional jail time as a sanction rather than moving to an adjudication where the only options are the sentence on the felony.
Okay.
But he's got this remaining time on the 5 years of his community supervision. He needs to navigate that successfully to be able to have the whole thing go away.
Yeah, the way I described it yesterday, by not having any information or having the experience obviously that you have and the knowledge of it, I sort of wonder, like, okay, so the 30 days, is this like a power play in hockey that, okay, now he served the 30 days and now the power play's over and so there's no more jail time? Or is this the 30 days, your probation remains, and there's a possibility for a longer power play even though you scored a goal?
Yeah, I would have to research Texas sanction provisions in their statutes to give you a firm answer. In most states, though, the judge would have some ability to enter additional sanctions while keeping him on community supervision. And assuming that's the case, then you would be looking at how severe is the next violation and what's the appropriate response.
Last one for you. Steve Liebman is our guest. This was something that we brought up in the first hour, and it was like, well, I wonder from a judge's perspective, because, it'd be difficult to get into the mind of somebody that's in front of you or get in the mind of, as we're talking about here, Rashee Rice. But this is really nothing to do with Rashee Rice, just in general. In your time as a judge, and you've, had different defendants in front of you and those that may have violated probation, things like that, do you find it that when that happens, it's more of a sort of invincibility, it's not going to happen to me, no big deal, more cavalier, or that, okay, this is a sign of there is a bigger problem going on and there is something that, need more help with, rather than hoping he or she on their own will be able to, curb whatever is affecting their life?
My view in lots of situations was a person either gets it, in other words, they understand they did something that was wrong and they have a serious resolve not to get themselves in that position again, or they don't. And I would judge that based on their behavior. And if their behavior does not show that they get it, then the criminal justice system is available to teach additional lessons or to incapacitate people with a prison term for some period of time to make sure that they're not able to do the same thing that they did before.
Yeah.
So that's the way I tended to look at it. Based on behavior, have they shown they understand and we can trust they won't be doing this again?
Steve Lieben, Associate Dean, School of Law at UMKC, and a distinguished Missouri professor of law. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. The information was really enlightening, and I appreciate you carving a few minutes out for us today.
No problem.
Absolutely. There's Steve Lieben. Good stuff from him, Associate Dean, School of Law at UMKC, and a trial judge in Johnson County for 14 years, appellate judge for 13 years. And, I guess the takeaway from me in that is, it was joking because the only way that I could compare it was in an athletic venue of hockey and a power play. But the takeaway there for me is almost, okay, so this is now something you have done, you violated, you've had to serve now your 30 days. And he said it's probably the prosecutor that suggested, hey, 30 days was the term anyway. Because he violated this, we don't need to go and add on and impose any additional penalties, that this will be imposed now. But when that is done, the reference I made about, the power play, when that is done, okay, now jail time is done no matter what happens with probation violations the rest of the way. It's when he gets out of jail, it will then be up to, if there are any violations until the 5 years is up. So 4 years and 2 months, that's going to be up for him to have to do this, that depending on the severity could then result in additional penalties or simply result in now going before the judge and the judge saying, you've kind of tied my hands here. Now we're dealing with the minimum sentence in these felonies that you have pleaded guilty to. And technically the court didn't, and this is where the misunderstanding I had, and I'm glad that he said this. Technically, the court didn't find him guilty. They put the case on hold. But now you show back up to court with probation violations. You've already agreed to these certain things and pled guilty, only in that it will go away if you follow these things. It is not a quote-unquote power play. No, it doesn't just the prison term. The judge will still have the power if he violates this moving forward.
Oh, there's a power play.
The
judge has
not
the power.
Yeah, not
play.
the hockey part of it. To then sentence more prison time or other sanctions on him if he violates probation again. And that is really hard to think that wouldn't happen for the next 4 years and 2 months, since it took 10 months to do that.
He's been in the news so often, even for things that have gotten brushed away.
Mm-hmm.
The photographer.
Yeah.
The thing with his baby mama, ex-girlfriend, allegations.
Yeah.
I mean, again, whether or not it happened, whatever happened, we do not know. That's between those two folk, right? The fact still remains you're in the news a lot for not good things. Things that are brutal, horrific, less than desirable in this case, with just, you can say, smoking weed. Point still remains, you were not allowed to do it. You did it. And now you are in the news making the Chiefs' brand look bad. And that is something that Clark Hunt does not put up with.
Finding out that the case was put on hold makes Rashee Rice look even stupider.
Yeah.
He got a clean break. He had a chance for it, and he just couldn't get out of his own way.
Yeah, Steve said there, he said, I can't speak to whether this would be available to other people, but this was, essentially a pretty good plea deal for him.
Yeah.
A pretty good plea deal for him, that he just simply had to follow these particular rules. And it's not like it shouldn't have been a surprise. That, oh, hey, by the way, we need to have a urinalysis. We need to have a urine test with you.
I think they do it monthly.
Yeah, I think it was monthly. So whether it's a surprise, we did it 2 weeks ago, now we're going to do it now for this month, or it's every 30 days, like specifically, that's certainly up to the details there. But it's going to happen. Like, you couldn't help yourself that much that's going to happen. You had to wait till March. Go play good football and wait till March, and you were going to get lots of millions of dollars guaranteed, probably and hopefully from another team.
What team's doing this? What team says, you know what?
A desperate team.
If I give this guy a lot of money, now he'll stay out of trouble.
You think the random drug test happened after he posted that he was in New Orleans a week ago?
Yeah, it's a good call. That's a great point. He's in New Orleans. Hey, by the way,
broadcasting what he's doing.
Yeah, come on in, and we're going to do this. Hold on, it's not time. I still had 2 more weeks.
Bourbon Street?
Secondhand smoke from Bourbon Street. In fairness, there's a lot of the devil's lettuce, marijuana.
He can't have any of it.
I love the different names for it.
Are you saying it's a PED in baseball that they ingested in something that was an over-the-counter that they didn't look at? I took a drink, and I didn't know that drink had THC in it.
Correct, yeah.
That was in
Your
Bourbon
Honor,
Street.
I thought it was horse medicine.
Yeah, and then they reply with, yeah, but you couldn't have alcohol either. Well, what I meant was it was a Shirley Temple. That's what I meant, was I ordered the Shirley Temple, so I didn't know that it had that in it.
I don't know what team does it. You can say desperate all you want, but this is him with everything to lose.
Right?
Imagine you pay him, and then what?
Yeah.
He'll go, okay, fine.
Then he's got the millions and millions of dollars, and if he's willing to do this while he may have some money issues when he's kind of, promoting some interesting things on Twitter to make a little cash, that then he has the money, what does he do then? Like I said it yesterday, my immediate reaction, and I have not wavered from it. I think the Chiefs should move on from him. I think it's time to cut bait and move on. What are you willing to accept? How much are you willing to accept? And I don't want this person to continue to be in the news for the team that I have, emotional and civic and historical connections with. I don't want that to be the case. I root for the jersey, not the player, depending on what that sort of player/person is like. And I'm tired of having to deal with this particular player. I was ready to move on from Tyreek with all the stuff that went on, and we know more details of all of that now than when we were living through it at the time. But it was still like, okay, we're dealing with this yet again. And now we know with Rashee Rice, we're dealing with this yet again. It's just cut bait, move on. And if you got to make a trade for another receiver, then do that. But that's the position you put yourself in by going into this offseason and not addressing it to a large degree of saying this is a position of need the way the defense was.
The issue is that the production does not value the process. Rashee Rice does not have the production to act like this. I mean, really, no human being can put up enough yards and touchdowns to rationalize poor behavior.
Antonio Brown was close for a while. I mean,
until he wasn't.
But you can see the exceptions. There are plenty of teams that the Chiefs have made an exception for somebody that doesn't have the production behind him.
Yep.
And it's really sad that we are going through all of this, all of the off-the-field issues, the controversy, the injuries, for a guy that's never put up 1,000 yards.
Yeah, and hasn't been available. Whether it's unfortunate injury or not, or his own doing, the availability is an issue with Rashee Rice. And I don't know if this will then rise to the level of the NFL getting involved, because the positive test for marijuana, do they view that as not the substance abuse policy, but the personal conduct policy? Do they view the going to jail for 30 days and violating probation personal conduct policy? If so, you've already had to deal with the 6-game suspension. And now if it's a second violation of the personal conduct policy, now you're talking about a longer extended suspension to go along with that, if the NFL were to view it that way, which I think they might have a case to do that. And we'll see what the Players Association would do in terms of an appeal with that. But we'll see. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk some Royals with Jeff Montgomery. On the other side of the break, I do want to talk a little bit about that. The NBA last night was an amazing comeback by the New York Knicks, and just post-game of no, it was pretty obvious we were going after James Harden. Like, it was pretty obvious, even saying that. And no, we were isolating Harden. Like, unbelievable with that. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. Jeff Montgomery will join us coming up at noon. Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 sports director, will be our guest coming up at 1 o'clock. Should we play some Rotten Tomatoes today? I think we should. I think we shall. Shall we? Should we? Let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Fun theme ideas.
Oh, man, I think we probably all would have the same theme ideas. North Dallas 40. The Royals lose last night. We'll talk with Monty about some of the other specific things that took place in this particular game and get his thoughts on what's been going on with this Royals team as of late. And boy, what a difference a week makes. And it's just week by week, this somewhat roller coaster. Mainly it's been the valleys and less of the peaks. Because, you know, they did have that stretch where they went 9-2, which is great. But also there are some bad teams that can go 9-2. Bad teams go 9-2 all the time in baseball.
If the Red Sox played the Royals 11 times, they might go 9-2. And they're not a good team.
No, they're not. But even like poor personnel teams, not just, hey, they're not playing well, just like, oh, that's a bad team. Well, over that 11-game stretch, they went 9-2. That's pretty impressive. Nice job. Good for you. So it's a little different than living off a 16-2 stretch last year that the Royals had. Okay, yeah, bad teams don't go 16-2. And that was a 500 team that was above 500. And was in the race for a good portion of the season. This team is 7.5 out of the division when they were a half game out 10 days ago, it felt like. 3.5 out of the wild card somehow, only 3.5 games out of the wild card. And they're sitting 9 games under 500 yet again. And they are just playing some bad baseball. And it's the Tootblands. It's the constant Tootblands that happen with this team. Let's hear Matt Quattrero. And I do love the way that Q began this, and I get it. He's the manager, right? He's the guy that will look at the bigger picture constantly and doesn't want to focus on the negative things and, you know, one day at a time, and yesterday doesn't matter, and this game is now over. But he was asked about the issues with base running this year. So here's Matt Quattrero when asked about issues with base running this year. And last night, that game specifically, some of the base running things that he saw.
Yeah, well, I mean, start with Lane in the first inning, you know, a hustle double, getting to second base, setting up a second and third situation there. So that was a positive from him, going hard out of the box. You know, he's got a green light to steal. And in a situation where obviously we're struggling to score runs, that's a split second from being him standing up on third. The guy held the ball a split second longer and got us. So that was a tough break there. And Michael reads the high throw out of the guy's hand. He launched the throw, and catcher did a good job of throwing him out at second.
Did you like that aggressiveness from Garcia going to second?
Yeah, when you read a throw like that, I mean, that's what everybody's taught to do. You read that throw launch out of his hand like that, you go.
From a philosophical standpoint, can you be too aggressive on the base paths? What would that be?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you're just running without any regard for the game situation and those kinds of things, but yeah, for sure you can be. Yeah.
Let's hear from Mike. Let's start with the first. I mean, he busted it out of the box, Lane Thomas, and got to, yeah, that's cool. That is great that he was able to do that. We're kind of talking about the issues that have happened all season long, and last night included. I don't know what to make of this. I have my opinion on what to make of this. Michael Garcia has worked really hard on learning English. And we have given him tons of credit for that because it's not easy.
No.
Anybody that's tried English as a second language, I've tried it, and it's tough, man. It's difficult. And when he got the contract, he did the press conference in English. And that was really cool that he wanted to do that. And he's done a number of post-game press conferences in English. Last night, he did it in Spanish with a translator. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what it actually is, but what I make of it is I really don't want to speak to what's going on right now. So I can be here and sort of work through what's being said and have to really sort of concentrate on what's being said, and English is second language. Or maybe he's just saying, you know what, I'm not going to have anything lost in translation. Maybe that's the case. Maybe I'm reading it completely wrong.
Not the Sammy Sosa of where you spoke English like a whole bunch, but then you get popped for steroids and you go, no hablo inglés.
No, I don't speak English at all. Maybe it was one of those to where, you know what, I messed up and I want to make sure that I get what I want to say across. But anyway, the question about getting thrown out at second, Michael Garcia gave the answer. Here's through the translator what Michael Garcia had to say.
Honestly, it was a mistake. I didn't come out of the box hard. Once the throw was high, coach said go, but obviously he didn't see me coming out of the box. So, yeah, it was my mistake.
So there's a little responsibility taken there, and also a little bit of I'm going to push off the responsibility to somebody else. In that Damon Wilson says go, and he's toast to second base. And maybe he did. Maybe he did say go at that point. And this is now yet another base coach where Vance Wilson on Monday night sees Michael Massey stop his momentum and still sends him. And Damon Wilson, maybe he's looking at the throw and not seeing that Michael Garcia is dogging it down to first. And I'm glad that Michael Garcia took responsibility for that. Said, my fault, I wasn't hustling out of the box.
How many times have we seen that, though, this year
That's
from
the
him?
point. How do you not fix that when, 2 weeks ago? Less than 2 weeks ago? The ground ball to third? The bad throw to first that bounced and the first baseman drops it, got to pick it up and step on first because Michael was jogging down to first? That can't happen.
Was it yesterday or the other day? He had one, too, where it was one where the shortstop, second baseman kind of fumbled it, but he was jogging the whole way, and I thought it wouldn't have mattered realistically, but there would have been probably a 40% chance if you were running the whole way, you're safe. And also, when you're jogging like that and a guy does bobble it and kind of scuffs it, if you're sprinting, well, now he starts to panic a little bit too. It's 4 times a game. We're asking 4 times a game to sprint.
Exactly.
I don't, again, he's a good player. He's not been the major issue of this team. He's great defensively. I like a lot of the fire a lot of times he brings, but it feels like the fire's not there this year from him, and that's a little frustrating. I don't want to hear any of the folk, and I've seen some of this before too, and from guys that I like a lot, some smart guys, but they've shown me, the Royals are like 7th or 8th in base running this year. And the pushback I give is, okay, it's because Bobby Witt Jr. and Kyle Isbell, but mostly Bobby Witt Jr. has done so much of the heavy lifting that it bolsters everyone. I don't care about taking the extra base when you immediately follow up with getting thrown out.
Yeah, right.
I don't care. It shows up on these analytics as a wash. That's not a wash.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's not a wash. You were on second. Nice. But then you got thrown out. So now you were already in scoring position, and now there's no chance for you to score because you're sitting your ass in the dugout. I don't understand some of the nerds that are sitting here going, no, the Royals have actually been above average in the base paths. No, Bobby Witt Jr. has been phenomenal. Kyle Isbell's been pretty good, and almost everyone else has been ass. I've watched every single game. Every single game. My eyes aren't lying to me when I see Lane Thomas perpetually do dumbassery on the base paths. Yeah. When Michael Massey, for some reason, has turned in to one of the slowest players in baseball, and all of a sudden, Vance Wilson doesn't understand that and think it's 5 years ago.
And it's an awareness thing. Like we talked about Michael Massey yesterday. It's an awareness thing to where, how do you not know where the third base is lined up, where third baseman is lined up? Because that hit to your right, I understand it. You're taught when you're at second base and the ball is hit to your right, you pause. You don't want to run into an out. But that's why you have to be aware of where all the defenders are. And anything to the left side, if it's on the ground, I don't care where the defenders are. I'm sprinting and I'm looking at Vance Wilson to see if I'm going to go home. Anything to my right, okay, I may need to pause. But if I see that the shortstop is lined up behind me, and the third baseman is that far away, and that ball is hit right there, I don't have to worry about me running into an out. That thing is into left field, and I'm taking off and running, not secondary, hit, stop. Oh, wait, now I need to go. and then Vance Wilson sending him anyway when his momentum was stopped. And if Damon Hollins sent Michael Garcia when his momentum had stopped and he was dogging it and jogging down to first because, well, I did my job, I hit it hard, it's a symptom of what's going on with this team. How do you have players that are playing lackadaisical baseball when you're saying we got to do anything we can to break out of this slump? Yes. We got to do the small things better. We got to do those things. That's a small thing. It doesn't seem like a small thing, but I think in the grand scheme of things, hustling to first and running to first just in case there's an error is kind of a small thing that may, every 25 or 30 chances, result in something. But to your point, when the guy drops it, bobbles it, picks it up, throws it, and still out because you're jogging, the book is out on Michael Garcia. He doesn't run hard down the line. The book is also out on Bobby. Bobby runs hard every single time down to first, whether it's right back to the pitcher or to second base or anywhere else, which then causes, in turn, the defense to rush. And it has helped out Bobby from time to time. He's had some of those plays where he has been safe. But even when there's no chance of him being safe, I've never seen Bobby jog to first one time. You don't have to be as good as Bobby Witt. Nobody's going to be that on the Royals as good as Bobby Witt. But Bobby Witt, out of anybody on this team, would be the person that it's like, all right, he was jogging. I get it, man. He's doing everything else. He's carrying this team. He didn't bust it down the line to first base. But that's what makes him Bobby Witt, is that he's not taking a play off. There are 4 times in a game where I have to sprint as fast as I can to first base or second base or third base or all the way home. I have to sprint as hard as I can and run and stretch this into a double. I've got to be aware at first base where everybody is so that I get a read off the bat so I can sprint and make it to third. I'm at second and I can get a read off the bat quickly so I can get going so I can score. You don't have to be as physically gifted as Bobby Witt is, but I think it's very small. It's a minimal thing to ask that you run hard to first 3 or 4 times a game. And it sucks that we're at this point talking about that, because that feels very little league to the big leaguers when it's like, oh, run hard to first. I get it. And I defended Jose Guillen back in the day when he would ground out and he would jog. And people were booing him. He came out and said, F the fans post-game when they were booing him. And my view was, I don't think Jose Guillen really means F the fans. I think Jose Guillen cares what the fans think. He's frustrated and mad that they were booing him. But I wouldn't have booed him. Well, I mean, people can boo him if they want to. The reason I wouldn't have booed him is we're all aware he's dealing with a hamstring injury.
Yes.
He's the only guy in the lineup that offers any fear on that particular team.
Correct.
A ground ball to second base, you want him sprinting as fast as he can and hurting his hamstring?
Correct.
Out of anybody on that team, take your time, dude. You ground out to second. That's not your job.
It's the Juan Gonzalez. Is that what you wanted? Do you want to see Juan Gonzalez?
Right. Chill, you're fine. But that ain't Michael Garcia.
Correct.
That's not a lot of guys on these teams. Hell, Vinny busts it down to first.
Yeah.
I mean, Jack busted down to first. He beat the damn throw. He beat the play in the first inning because he was running as fast as he can.
That's a good call, by the way. Jack did. Jack had one this year where he didn't.
Yes, he did.
And we've not seen it since.
Yep, that double play where he, or it was Carter. It was Carter or Jack was one of them. I think it was Jack. I got to go back to one of my tweets because I tweeted it out, and I'm like, you can't be swinging the bat that way, and then you hit the ball on the ground to the right side, and it's going to be a double play. And you immediately dropped your head and jogged.
Jack
learned from that, I hope.
If I'm remembering correctly, I think that was him, but he learned, and he busted it, and he was safe. It's just frustrating because this team, I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again, they do the bad things poorly and the little things worse.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, all the little things that you win in the margins, all of those situations, they lose. But they're not good enough to make up. Like, remember when the Chiefs would do, like, they'd be bad in the red zone. Well, that's okay because they were good enough to make up for it elsewhere.
You were like, why don't you just get a fullback and 2 tight ends and run it down their throat? I know you're doing the reverse pass, toss play, hacky sack, and then throw it. Like,
they would do little things poorly, but they were good enough to make up for it, right?
So they were scoring 30-yard touchdowns every other drive.
It didn't matter. Well, this team, it does matter because you're not going to win by outslugging the other team. Okay, you're bad on the base paths, but you hit 2 3-run shots a game,
Yeah.
and you're going out and your pitching staff right now is healthy and dealing. Well, no, your pitching staff's banged up. They carried you early on in the season, and now you can't score or pitch, and your bullpen's shaky at best. They don't do anything well.
20 of 49 games they have played, they scored 2 or fewer runs.
And the only reason why, I get it, Cags isn't good against lefties. But Vinny's worse. This team has about 6 guys you don't want to play against lefties. 7 guys maybe, and you have to play someone. But Cags is one of the few guys who offers power potential.
Yeah.
And that's why I've said time and time again, I want to see him play. I'm cool.
Yeah, me too. And I'm
cool
glad.
with it.
I'm glad he put him in there last night. I was glad to see that.
And guess what? I'm okay that he struck out 3 times.
Okay, he's got to learn.
He's got to learn.
Yep.
Do you think Duran, who's also left-handed, who led off, you think the Red Sox we can't play him? He's been horrible this year.
Yeah.
He's still leading off.
Wasn't last night.
Will you Abreu? Yeah, you play the Royals, you get hot. Everyone knows that's your slump buster. Face the Royals.
Yeah. But it was a lefty on the mound, and you still pitch. And by the way, there's a lefty on the mound tonight for the Red Sox. So what does Q do? Does he go and back to the well and nope, Cags has to sit or Carter has to sit, or no, I'm keeping him in there because this lineup will tell me a lot, Sterling, of how committed they are to saying, no, we're going to see what Cags can do against lefties. We're going to keep him in there against lefties, whether that be Suarez or Early, whoever it is, it's a lefty on the mound. We're going to do that. And I'm going to ask Monty if he has some sort of an explanation or can put his finger on what the difference between last year and this year is against left-handed pitchers. They are 2-11 this year in games where left-handed pitchers start the game. 2-11. They were 20-13 last year. The second best record in all of baseball against left-handed pitchers. 20-13. And what's crazy is the guys they brought in to hit left-handers have been hitting left-handers.
Correct.
It's not like, well, they brought in Lane Thomas and Starling Marte to hit lefties, and they're not doing their job. There's your explanation. No, they're doing their job. They're hitting lefties, yet they can't beat left-handed pitchers. And last year, they smoked them.
Garcia's hammering lefties. Bobby's doing Bobby things. Perez has actually been pretty good versus lefties overall. Salvi's actually had a above average for the average major leaguer against lefties. His OPS is around 720 against lefties.
Great.
Lane Thomas has for sure done his job against lefties. Marte's done his job against lefties, and Lofton's done his job against lefties. 6 guys.
6 guys in your lineup
but
against lefties.
Every other dude has been unplayable. Unplayable.
But those 6 guys out of 9 should result in more runs scored than just one.
You'd think.
But then when you get a guy thrown out at third and a guy thrown out at second, when you've got a rally going, an opportunity to score runs, and you end the rally by being a toot-bland, by, boneheaded plays. Like, I know that Q said, well, that Lane Thomas, that was a half second away from being
how often
a stand-up at third.
How often?
Great, but you know what it wasn't?
A stand-up at third.
A standing up at third. He got it wrong. And do you take that chance in that situation to get thrown out? Okay, if he's safe, then, hey, that was great base running. But Lane Thomas ain't exactly the guy that I'm deferring to when it comes to great base running this year. He ain't the guy I'm deferring to when it comes to solid defense either.
Our offense is bad, so let's give him only 2 instead of 3 outs. Let's give him 2 outs instead of 3.
Let's get a guy on base and then get him out. Like, we are giving their approach. Hey, let's give the other team 2 opportunities to get this guy out, either at the plate or on the base paths. You get 2 shots to throw this guy out.
More like Quanalytics, am I right?
I don't know what that means.
Q analytics.
I see. I don't know what that means. Though.
I don't really know.
I get it. I've liked what Lane Thomas has done, the job that he's brought in to do against lefties. But the base running and the defense has left a lot to be desired. It was a great throw to Bobby, but it was also a great throw to Bobby because Kyle Isbell would have caught the ball.
That was a brutal route.
Yeah, Isbell catches the ball. He doesn't run over and then turn and run straight to the wall. How many times have we seen that from Lane Thomas this year? Isbell catches the ball. Luckily, he still got Duran out at third.
He took the wrong lane, but it worked out.
I see what you did there. It did work out. They got the out. It was a great throw, great relay by Bobby, great tag by Michael. It was awesome. They got Duran at third.
You can see him going to third was not life in the fast lane.
Well, is there a Duran song that you can throw to? Somewhere along the lines here? He did make a cardinal sin of the first out at third, but you know why it didn't matter? Because they scored 7. Although Q let us know it was 2-1 entering the 8th. Come on, guys.
Thanks, Eli.
It was 2-1 entering the 8th.
Have you ever?
That was Mears in the 8th, and then
I know, but
7th,
you ever seen a
why
guy?
Are you taking a shot at Drinkwitz?
Eli Morgan giving up 7 hits.
Eli.
in one inning while also only throwing 26 pitches, that almost feels impossible. 7 hits on 26 pitches is nuts.
Yeah, it's 9U baseball. More Zone next. I wonder if Kaggs is going to be in the lineup tonight. We'll see when the lineup comes out. We'll talk with Jeff Montgomery.
Better be.
It's a lefty on the mound. We'll see how convicted they are in, if they are taking the route of let's give Kaggs more opportunities against lefties so we can see if he has improved and can hit lefties. Left him in the game against Chapman. A great at bat. Started him yesterday against tough lefty and Suarez. Left him in the game in the 9th inning against Moran. Lefty, struck out on 4 pitches. Does Q hit the eject button and say, nope, we're going back to not playing him against lefties? Or, no, We're playing him against lefties. He's got to learn. At some point, he's got to continue to see this, so leave him in. I actually don't think he is. I wish he was. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. We'll hang out with Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Right now, talking some baseball, hanging out with Jeff Montgomery here in the zone with us on a Wednesday. Monty, how are you, sir?
Well, Jason, doing pretty good, I guess. I guess considering the roller coaster the Royals team's been on here for the last, say, 2 to 3 weeks, it's been kind of interesting, but not one that's really a big fan of roller coasters, so hopefully ride this one out pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of roller coasters either, so we're in the same boat on that one. It was not a roller coaster from the pitching side. Let's talk about that first before we get into some of the other things. Bailey Falter went out there. Luinder Avila, John Schreiber, those guys went out there and did their job. We know there's some issues with the offense that we'll get into here in just a little bit, but in a bullpen game, there's not much more you could ask for, right, from your pitching staff to give you that opportunity. It fell apart in the ninth, but I don't think Eli Morgan's pitching in the ninth if things are a little bit different.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the way that Bailey Falter started out, I mean, he really had to struggle with his command early, but found a way to kind of limit the damage. And then the way that Luinder Avila came in and really kind of shut things down, gave this team a chance to win in a bullpen day. I mean, you go into the ninth inning, had only given up a couple runs. You feel pretty good about, where you are pitching-wise, but unfortunately no support from the offense once again.
Visiting with Jeff Montgomery. What did you see from Luinder Avila? I wanted to talk to you about him because he's been a guy that we've discussed a few times where, I feel like his stuff matches well in the bullpen. The Royals felt like, there was at least an opportunity for him to be a starter and then, bringing him up to pitch in the bullpen. 3 innings, only 1 hit, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. And Monty, this was the 4th straight outing for Luinder Avila without allowing a run. What are you seeing from him as a piece maybe for this team?
Yeah, kind of seeing the same thing we saw from him last year in limited duty where he was really good. I mean, just the command was there last year. Started this year, really struggled as far as commanding, particularly his fastball, pitching behind a lot, having the free passes. But since he's been back, he's been really spot on. It's good to see the young arm really kind of taking to the opportunity given to him. And I think last night did a whole lot for him with regards to his own confidence as well as what the team's confidence is going to be in him moving forward.
Do you think there's a chance that next time around he may get the start in a game, or do you like maybe the lefty with Falter, then following that up with a righty in Avila?
Well, I think Avila sure, put on a nice exhibition last night, and, he got his pitch count up a little bit, so he extended him out as well. So if it were my choice, I think I got to go with the youngster and Avila, give him an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I would probably lean Avila there. Visiting with Jeff Montgomery. As we look at this rotation right now, it's a far cry from 2024 when, man, they just went out there every single night out and made the start. Each time through the rotation, you had Reagans and Lugo and Waka, I think, combined for like 94 starts that year, and we haven't seen it since then. Chris Bubich, the latest to go down. What do you think of Chris Bubich's comments? And I think you and I had a conversation earlier in the year when Bubich said last year he was pitching so well that he had some issues, but he pitched through it and didn't let anybody know until it became too late. What do you make of his comments that, it was a little sore, not necessarily things he's used to, but I need to get this addressed right now?
Well, he's been through both issues with regards to arm injuries for a pitcher. He's had the elbow with the Tommy John, then he had the fatigue in the shoulder last year. So he certainly knows his body well. And I think once you've been through the experiences he's had with his arm health, I think then you're certainly going to raise that caution flag a little quicker than maybe someone who has not. So it's tough for Chris Bubich to do that in a situation where he's in with regards to becoming a free agent at the end of the season. But I think he certainly understands the importance of being healthy, not just for his own career and his sake, but for the team moving forward. This early in the year, you don't want to really put yourself in a position where you press and you try and then you're down for an eight. I think he wants to be fresh, when the games are going to mean more in bulk, during this, particularly the second 2/3 of the season. But it's unfortunate. I mean, if you look at the rotation, you got your opening day starting pitcher in Cole Reagans. He's got the issue with his elbow. You got Chris Bubich now, who's your last year's all-star pitcher. He's got issues with his elbow. It's just unfortunate that, after that 2024 season, I think a lot of wear and tear, a little extra mileage, so to speak, has paid the unfortunate situations for 25 and 26 with the rotation.
Everybody's built differently. Is there, maybe something is there at least a possibility or a reality that maybe Kris Bubic is built maybe more for the bullpen than being a starter, since the number of times he's tried to be a starter, he's been on the IL each time?
Well, we've seen him pitch well in both roles, but I think if you're concerned about your arm health, and obviously the toll that the innings take as far as being a starting pitcher certainly has. I know from my own experience, I was a starting pitcher my entire amateur career. I get drafted, I go to the bullpen, and it just seemed like my arm really responded well to it. We saw that with Kris Bubic when he was coming back from his Tommy John, when he had the opportunity to pitch in the bullpen, and really kind of made himself, a viable guy to go to in high leverage situations down the bullpen. And then he carried that over in the first half of last season, made himself an all-star. So I think there are a lot of different ways you can go with it, but it just seems like nowadays the arm injury is just such a factor for almost every pitcher out there.
Jeff Montgomery is our guest here in the Zone on this Wednesday edition. I wanted to talk to you about the base running. Is this a product of trying to do too much? Is it a product of awareness? Is it a product of hustle? How do you view it with this team that has so many different outs this year on the base paths compared to other teams, and a couple more last night?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I think it's probably a combination of all those factors that you just mentioned. I'll give you an example. Last night, the Royals lose 2 guys on the bases, and it's magnified significantly. Whereas Duran has a double, tries to stretch it into a triple, nobody out. He gets thrown out at third base, right? Makes it first out at third. And there's no emphasis on that because the Red Sox win the baseball game. So you win, you cover up those mistakes or those aggressive errors that you make. So when you're losing, you have to do everything to eliminate that from becoming a talking point after the game is over. I know Matt Quatraro had a lot of questions last night regarding both the base running. I'll call them mistakes because they were both they were aggressive mistakes. But in those situations, you've got Bobby Witt Jr. standing in the on deck circle, or somebody up there that you feel really good about maybe getting another run or another run or two during the course of an inning. You just hate to eliminate those crooked numbers by making mistakes on the base paths.
The one that I probably am more frustrated with was the Michael Garcia one because, and he even said it last night. He didn't hustle or run hard out of the box, and then he got there and he said, he hears, go, and so he takes off and goes for second because of the throw being high. The frustrating part on that is, I guess, you hit the ball hard to right field, but then you just sort of jog and take your time to get to first. And I think those are the parts, Monty, that when a team is struggling and you need to find a way out of it, sometimes those small little things like, I'm going to run to first as fast as I can. What if the guy bobbles the ball in right field? I can take the extra base. Or what if there is a throw home for some reason? I can take the extra base, but just sort of an assumption. And I guess the frustrating part, Monty, for me is we saw Michael do that a couple of weeks ago when it was a ground ball to third and he jogged down to first and it was a bad throw and the first baseman bobbled it, dropped it, was able to pick it up and step on first because Michael was just jogging down to first. Like, that's not how you break out of a slump, and that's not how you get things rolling.
Yeah, and you really have to make an effort, especially when the team's not playing good baseball, because all those little things, they get talked about, and we're talking about it right now, and these are things that you just want to eliminate any chance of that happening. And I think if you look at Bobby Witt Jr., you hardly ever see him take a play off. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen him take a play off. It could be a routine ground ball to second base, and it's going to be bang, bang at first base. So I think you have to learn from your own mistakes, but you also and then try to follow up and not put yourself in a position where you have people talking about your complacency or about your lack of hustle. And, those are things that are noticed. I mean, I think teammates notice them, coaching staffs and management notice them, and certainly fans notice them.
Visiting with Jeff Montgomery. I wanted to talk about one of the positives we've seen from this year, and really we saw it last year as well in the second half of the season, and that is Caglione, Jack Caglione, Cags in right field, and his play. He has been, I'll just ask you, Monty, is how much Has he exceeded your expectations and what you thought he may look like in right field?
Yeah, I think he's been a really pleasant surprise, really across the board this year. We saw a lot of outstanding defensive play for him last year. Obviously struggled mightily offensively, looked better after unfortunately, he worked on things during the winter. He came into the season with an idea, with a plan to get better and improve, and we've just seen nothing but improvement from him, and he's on an accelerated pace to establish himself as a really solid major league player, outfielder with a cannon of an arm, hitter with power, guy that's now starting to use all fields. And this is really difficult for a player who has such a few amount of plate appearances as a professional player, not alone just as a major league player, but as a professional player, what he's been able to do. I mean, it speaks to the athleticism, fortunately, that he possesses, and I think we're going to see a really good quality player for a long period of time.
Yeah, I do too, and I'm liking the at-bats. I know last night there were a couple against lefties. The Aroldis Chapman at-bat the other night I thought was really, really good and really mature at-bat and showing maybe the progression and the maturation for him against lefties, and I'm glad that they're playing him a little bit more against lefties. I would like to see it. The only chance that you get an opportunity to show you can do it is getting the opportunity. I think Curtis a couple of days ago said, it's like trying to get a job. And they said, well, we can't hire you. You don't have experience. Well, how do I get experience? Well, you need a job. But I can't get the job without experience. How can I prove I hit lefties if I don't get a chance to hit lefties? And I'm liking that he's getting the opportunity there to do that a little bit more. And so, I also wonder too, Monty, you've been through it. You've been through the grind of a Major League Baseball season, from a young guy coming up to seeing success and failure. And the story that Vahe put out, last week with Jack and working with George Brett, but also spending the offseason working on the mental, the psychological part of playing baseball. And I wonder, is that one of the biggest hurdles? You've got all this talent in the world. I'm assuming Jack has succeeded at almost every stop he's been. Not that he's not working hard to do that, but he's been successful everywhere he's been, including the minors, and then he struggles at the big leagues. Is that one of the toughest things to get over and learn as a professional, is the mental side of it, the psychological side of it?
Well, it certainly plays its way into your progress as a player. I think you have to have some ability to understand that you have to work on a lot of different areas of your game, and sometimes it's just that confidence factor of knowing that you have what it takes to be successful, even though you've been beaten down, you've been knocked off that horse numerous times. Every player has to experience that. I mean, that's how you improve, that's how you get better. But sometimes it's really difficult to believe in yourself until you have some successes and you're able to build that confidence through the results. I mean, it's a result-driven game, and if you don't have results, then it's really difficult. But I think that's just part of the evolution of a player developing into a really solid, consistent major league player is understanding you're going to have you deal with determines where you're going to be at the end of the day and at the end of the season. So I always felt like it's really important every day to do something to get a little bit better. And I think that's what we've seen from Jack Caglione, what he put into his off-season preparation, getting better and working on all those different elements and aspects of the game. And now we're seeing results. And, again, it's at an accelerated pace at the major league level. So that's the thing that's impressive to me.
Visiting with Jeff Montgomery, Royals baseball coming up tonight as they have this third game against the Red Sox with an off day tomorrow, and Michael Wacha going out there on the mound. I wanted to ask you about the left-handed starters for the Royals this year. I mean, I like the approach and the process against Suarez. I mean, they made him work, and he threw a lot of pitches, and that pitch count ran up there pretty good. And the veteran guys the Royals have brought in to hit lefties have done their job, but the record this year against lefties has not been good. They're 2-11 now in games where a left-handed starter, is on the mound for the other team. And last year, Monty, they had the second best record in all of baseball at 20-13 when a left-handed pitcher was on the mound. That seems pretty drastic. I don't know if that's a randomness of baseball, because sometimes we chalk it up to that, or if there's anything more to it that the Royals are struggling in these games when left-handed starters are on the mound, as opposed to last year. They were really good.
Yeah, I wish I had a good answer for you, but I mean, the roster's not significantly different. I mean, you've got some different, what you'll call, particular players with regards to the left-handed, right-handed thing, bringing in Lane Thomas, and Starling Marte, for example, to bat primarily against those lefties. And, Nick Lofton's done a nice job in his opportunities as well. But I wish I had a good answer for you on why it is that, difference with regards to the record last year versus this year against lefties. But I think probably one thing you can boil a lot of these offensive lack of successes against. I mean, you got a left-handed batter batting third pretty much every night, and Vinny Pasquantino, until he gets things going, you may continue to have those same struggles against the lefties.
Visiting with Jeff Montgomery. Michael Wacha on the mound. I want to get your thoughts on that before we let you go. He is as consistent of a pitcher that I can really remember in a Royals uniform. Does it start to he's pitched for a long time, so maybe added pressure doesn't matter at all, but not only the Royals struggling to score runs, but he's been counted on each time through the rotation. I mean, he's got 3 straight quality starts. He's, got a sub-3 ERA. He's been really good this year and really consistent and solid for the team this year. Does that start to mount where it's like, okay, I've got to go out and I've got to be this guy? Or is he such a veteran that all the outside stuff doesn't matter? It's just his game, what he does that particular night.
He's a guy that understands what he needs to do. Going into every start, he has a good plan, going out, finding ways to execute that plan. And then at the end of the day, you're going to see probably a guy that's going to have 6 innings. He's probably going to give 2 or 3 runs. And that's just Michael Wacha. I mean, you can look at, his career numbers, and it's just amazing to see how many years that he has ERAs that are either, 3.25 or 3.38, whatever it might be. I mean, he's just so consistent year after year after year. And he's been able to do that by really kind of making some changes along the way during the course of his career. He's always been known for having that tremendous changeup. That's something he's had since he was an amateur player. But, just the evolution for Michael Wacha, implementing different pitches, whether it be a cutter, whether it be a slider, whatever the pitch might be, he's just been able to make the changes when necessary during the course of his career. And it's not something that he has just done like overnight. These are just things that have changed really from season to season when he understands and recognizes ways that he can get better. And I think he's a great example for young players, young pitchers especially, that don't maybe have what you'll call the dominant, the overpowering stuff, even though his fastball, still sits in the mid-90s. He's not a guy that's going to tell you he's throwing his fastball and beat you all the time. He's got to use his other pitches to complement that fastball. But you've heard me say this numerous times, Jason. Pitchers go out on the mound and they command the fastball. Everything else falls into place. And that's one thing that Michael Wacha does extremely well.
How difficult is that? Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. But for a player that's been around that long to be able to say, you know what, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I guess it could be easy just to rest on your laurels and say, this is my strength, this is what I do. I pitch off the changeup, I pitch, backwards from time to time. And these last 2 years, he's gone from his first year with the Royals and last year with the Padres that he was a changeup first guy, throwing 36% of his pitches as changeups. And last year was 25%. This year it's 24%. The four-seamer, the cutter, even more. Is that tough for a player to go, you know what, I need to change what my repertoire is or how often I'm using certain things because I have to adjust to the big leagues, even though I'm pitching pretty well. I mean, he threw really well in 23 and 24 when he was a change-up first guy, and he comes out in 25 and 26, and he continues to do the same things, only now he's sort of reversed the way that he's pitching.
Yeah, it's kind of a fine line. I think certain players maybe look to change too much and maybe try to become a little bit, different than what they have been able to do to establish themselves. I had an old pitching coach in the minor leagues, and you would start working on a different pitch, and he would say, don't try to be a Thomas Edison out there. Don't try to invent pitches. Your 3 pitches, your 3 quality pitches are what you need to get to the major leagues. But I think once you get to the major leagues, and suddenly, you get some experience. There's some, I guess, there are books on you, so to speak, on what you feature. But that's the smart thing with regards to a Michael Wacha, understanding that he needs to maybe have something to complement a changeup that's going to his arm side, going with that cutter now going to his glove side, just showing different angles and different ways to present yourself as a pitcher. That's what he's done really well. So I think, again, there's a fine line between trying to do too much and not doing enough. But seems like Michael Wacha's kind of figured that one out.
I love the Thomas Edison line. My son plays all these different baseball video games, and the other night he was like, "Hey, Dad, does anybody in the big leagues throw a torpedo curve?" I said, "What?" He goes, "Torpedo curve. It's a pitch that that different pitchers throw. Who in the big leagues throws a torpedo curve?" I'm like, "Son, that's not a real pitch. I'm sorry. I know it's a video game that you're playing, but it's not a real thing. There isn't." Monty, when's the last time you threw a torpedo curve?
Probably in my dreams.
I have no idea what it does. I don't even know what the shape would look like of a torpedo curve. Jeff Montgomery, our guest. Monty, thank you so much, as always, for the time. Let's hope the streak is broken. And they get back to winning at home tonight. They still have these, 7 games left in this homestand. So hopefully they can get back to winning. Thank you, Monty, as always. Appreciate it.
You bet. Let's hope next week we're talking about some wins.
Yes, let's do it. Jeff Montgomery, our guest here, Royals all-time leader in saves, and, hasn't thrown a torpedo curve. What's the point? If you haven't thrown one of those, then what's the point of even being a pitcher? We'll see Michael Wacha tonight. I expect him to go out there and do his thing. I'm hoping the Royals will go out there offensively and not do their thing, because their thing has not been very good this year, and unfortunately, there's a lefty on the mound, and this team is 2-11 in games where a lefty starts. 20-13 last year. And the odd part is they brought in guys, right-handed bats to hit lefties, that have done their job. Hasn't resulted in wins, though, and that's an unfortunate part. We continue rolling along here on this Wednesday edition of The Zone. Coming up at 1 o'clock, Mick Schaefer will join us. More Zone right after this. Thank you to Jeff Montgomery joining us. Monty, Royals hopefully will avoid a sweep tonight. And, I don't know, get a winning streak starting tonight. And they'll go on some long run of wins. That would be awesome if they could go ahead and do that. That'd be better than what they're doing right now.
Yes, they can.
Oh, I mean, yes, they can. Any team in baseball can, go out and win a bunch of games. But will they?
And they better.
I'd say probably not. Thank you to Jeff Montgomery, who joined us there talking about the Kansas City Royals. And don't be Thomas Edison, Michael Wacha. You don't have to go out and invent pitches. And not saying that he is that guy, but Michael Wacha's been so good. And that fine line between it's what you've always done. You've got a 3 ERA by in 23 and 24 being a change-up first pitcher. And then you spent 25 and so far in 26 being fastball first. And yet all you've done is still continue to be that consistent guy every time out, every 5 days. And it's probably, I would guess, because he's switched some things up. Because he's, changed up the percentage in which he's doing different things. And as Monty said, don't be Thomas Edison and invent things. And look, the torpedo curveball is not something that many people use. Not many people use the torpedo curveball. Jeff Montgomery has never used one. I just say maybe the Royals should try it. Maybe some guys in the bullpen should try Has Carlos Estevez tried the torpedo curve? I don't think so. Maybe he was trying to learn it, and that's when he hurt his shoulder. Oh, boy. If you didn't hear that in part of Monty, I was joking with him as he said, don't try to invent pitches. One of his pitching coach told him that. I was like, well, my son last week came up to me and was like, hey, Dad, who throws a torpedo curve in Major League Baseball? He's playing all these video games. I'm like, that's not a real pitch. Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, it's a real pitch, torpedo curve. Yeah, it's a real pitch.
I've literally seen it.
No, it's not exactly. It's not a real pitch. Yeah, it is. No, there was just a palm ball. I'm like,
palm ball's a real pitch.
Palm ball's a real pitch, but it's like,
don't you dare. A Vulcan change is a real pitch.
Well, that's different. Yes, but when's the last time you threw a torpedo curve? Because Monty's never thrown one. So is Jeff Montgomery really a major league pitcher if he's never thrown a torpedo curve?
Hear me out, though.
What's the pitch shape of a torpedo curve? I want to know that.
Can your son teach Monty this? Can we get him in a room and talk about the logistics of this torpedo pitch?
I want him to teach some of the guys in the bullpen this.
I'll give your kid some credit because a Vulcan change also sounds like a fake pitch. And that was a real pitch. That's what Eric Gagne threw.
But no, it's like from a video game. You can throw all the different things.
I'm just saying, a Vulcan chains also sounds fake.
For sure.
I'll give him credit.
It does. Yeah. So thank you to Jeff Montgomery, and we'll see what Michael Wacha can do tonight. And, there's we talked in the 11 o'clock hour about the Royals, and yes, a lot of frustration from last night. But I'm glad we got around to it in that interview with Monty to at least talk about one of the positive developments this year, and that's been Cags. I mean, in the ninth inning, they score 4 runs, the Red Sox do, and it would have been a whole lot worse if it wasn't for Cags' rope from right field. And I want to compare it to Bobby Witt to a degree and what's lacking with Michael Garcia, in that Bobby is sprinting down the first baseline every single time, no matter what, and Garcia is jogging half the time, where it creates the defense, knowing that Bobby is going to bust it down the line. You got to rush a little bit. You got to maybe get ahead of yourself. Maybe you commit an error. Garcia got a little bit more time because, what he's been doing is kind of, jogging down to first base. And I make the comparison to Cags in right field because at what point are we going to get to this year where teams just stop running? And it might not have been a play that you got him at home, but they're not going to risk it and get thrown out because he's showing that not only, and maybe the more impressive part, not only the fact that that he's going to throw it 90-plus miles an hour, but it's accurate.
Yeah.
It was right on the money to Carter. Like, he's been an accurate thrower, and if it's inaccurate, it's like 1 or 2 feet one way or another. It's never been an Isaac Collins in left field where the dude was dead to rights and it took an average throw, and instead he threw it almost to the pitcher's mound. That's how far off the throw was, and there was no chance for whether Salvi or Diaz or Carter, I can't remember who it was, to catch it and then run back over to tag the guy. And that dude was toast at home if it was just an average throw. Didn't even need the velocity, just needed the accuracy. And Cags has been doing that, getting guys out at third, getting guys out at home to where, you know what, if it's questionable, I'm not going to send him. Not going to send him against Cags in right field. You start to develop that reputation. You start to limit guys going an extra 90 feet from time to time. And that can make a huge difference by limiting runs. Hopefully the offense turns around. But if there is a positive from this year to take away from what we've seen so far in what has been a pretty lackluster and subpar, bad baseball season so far, it's that Jack Caglione is proving that he can be an actual everyday right fielder and be pretty good and not just subpar, but his bat plays.
So I know there's going to be a number you could find for almost anything defensively that will say he's good or he's bad. But for the most part, he has been good, or at least average to above in most of the categories I've looked at. His overall fielding run value is 1, which is the 57th percentile. Okay, he's been
better than average?
Just slightly above average defensively in his real first year playing right field, like his first real year.
It's true because it's a great point. Last year he was a first baseman.
Yes.
At this point last year, he hadn't played right field since high school.
And it was like with MJ Melendez, we weren't going to count his first kind of half season.
Yeah.
You're not holding that against him. Jack's arm value is in the 93rd percentile. His arm strength, shocking no one, 100th percentile, strongest arm in baseball as far as outfielders go. He's a legit solid outfielder. It's not Hunter Renfroe out there when he was a Royal where it was supposedly a good arm, but, his range was going to be atrocious.
And the arm had better days behind him.
And it had better days behind him. It was a multifaceted conversation there.
Yep.
Jack right now, is he the second best outfielder?
For the Royals?
Defensively.
Yeah.
Isbell's clearly one.
Yeah, Isbell and Jack. Yeah.
Lane Thomas has struggled.
Collins has taken some bad routes.
Collins has gotten better recently, I think. Collins what was it, last week? He had 2 phenomenal plays, and it feels like he's starting to maybe get a little more comfortable. But I think the point remains, Starling Marte made a nice play last night, but we know what he is at this point in his career. He was unplayable last year for the Mets. To me, I think Cags might be the second best defensive outfielder the Royals have right now.
I think so. Marte, I don't know that he keeps the guy at first, or was it a triple? The one that was roped by Bobby Witt to left center. Did that end up being a triple or a double? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But either way, no, I think it was it was a double because then Lane Thomas turned and just threw it over to third. It got rid of it as quickly as he could.
Yeah.
Got away from the cutoff man, but he'd already stopped at second. But when you watch that play again, the ball is ripped by Bobby and Marte hadn't moved yet. And then he sees it get past him, and then Marte starts to sort of trot over. He's an older dude, and I'm glad that
37.
I'm glad he didn't tear a hamstring with running the ball down in left center.
He made that one really nice play.
Exactly. Running it down in left center when he made that catch over his head. A lot of times you'll see a guy that's not running very fast or can't, and you stretch out, and then you got to almost your legs stretch out in front of you to slow your momentum down, and then immediately you hold the back of your hamstring. And I'm like, you know what? He made the catch. That's fine. He's not the best. In fact, he's got some pretty awful range. He's got a good arm. He still has the outfield assists that he's got going for him. But Lane Thomas has shown that he has struggled on defense, and Isaac Collins at times has struggled on defense. I don't think there's any question that Jack Caglione is the second best defender on this team in the outfield. And by the way, I looked it up because I said, at this time last year he was a first baseman. You know what today is the anniversary of? I didn't even realize this. Today is the anniversary, 1-year anniversary. Cags making his AAA debut.
Wow.
His first game for Omaha was May 20th. So just sort of goes to show, what he's done in the time. And it's like, well, Cags should be this, should do that. Can he hit lefties now? He's playing right field. I'd like him to be batting fourth. And in the grand scheme of things, he's less than 2 years away from even being drafted. And this time last year, he had made his AAA debut. So, that's some perspective for me, too. When we look at Cags, because it's almost like when we watch Cags at Northwest, Arkansas, not Missouri State, although Cags at Northwest Missouri State would have been a blast to watch. I don't know why he didn't go there. Florida, I guess, worked out for him. It's a good decision, but Northwest would have worked out for him too. Northwest Arkansas and then Omaha, sort of watching it through the prism of what he's going to do with the Royals. So you're watching them all last year, and it sort of feels like, well, yeah, he was doing this all last year, but the games sort of run together as to, yeah, he's developing and getting better, and now he's up with the big leagues on what, early June, like June 3rd, June 4th, something like that. I'll look up. June 3rd is when he made his debut with the Royals against the Cardinals that time. Like he eventually gets called up, but at the time it's like, okay, you almost view it through. He's developing and getting better, and then with the big leagues, he hasn't even been up with the big leagues for a month yet, not until June 1st. This was just the first game that he played at AAA, a year ago. So his development has been pretty good in the grand scheme of things, considering Sterling, like you talked about, he's learning a brand new position that he hadn't played since high school while trying to hit against big leaguers, while going through the offensive struggles, while having to still be the right fielder and learn that, and dealing with the psychological part of you being at the plate, and especially last year looking up and seeing, a 1 to start your average, on the Jumbotron all the time.
Well, and what's crazy about Jack is, and we'll see how it goes, because I think there is such a semi-funny disconnect here. Jack, for his career, has a 617 OPS. Carter has a 796 career OPS. Now, smaller sample size for Carter, so it's going to, more variance, right, can be involved there. But yet I think we all agree Jack has, I don't know if it's upside, has looked better this year.
I think he's definitely
more confidence this year than Carter. I mean,
even in this little time, it feels like a more mature approach at the plate.
The underlying metrics scream. Carter is still underperforming. I mean, Jack is still underperforming as far as what the numbers are, and he's a 744 OPS. The underlying numbers say it should be an 830, and I feel like that's more in line with what we've seen as far as a lot of the hard hit balls that have not resulted in not just home runs but even hits.
Yeah,
right. Like we're seeing guys turn into Bobby Witt Jr. defensively when he's at the plate for some reason.
Like that.
Carter, on the other hand, this year has a 734 OPS. But that was bolstered by a lot of early on success. And you look at the underlying metrics for Carter now again, end of the day, if you put up numbers, those still count. But underlying, he's a 650. 650 is what his expected OPS would be. So he's actually outperformed. He's gotten lucky is how that would break down.
So there's probably going to be some sort of a meeting at the middle where Carter comes back to the pack and Jack then raises those particular numbers.
And it feels like we're starting to see that with Carter. And with Jack, we haven't quite seen it. Like yesterday was a bad game for Jack, right? We know that. There's no denying that. But there's reason to be more optimistic, I think, with Jack moving forward. I'm not saying give up on Carter. That by the way, that's not the point of the story.
That's what I heard.
The point of the story is I think we're actually watching Jack turn into a middle-of-the-order bat. I think we're starting to see it unfold. Now, the consistency has to come into play. I still think there's a lot of value with what Carter has brought. I still want to see him in the lineup every single day, lefties, righty, because I also want Carter to get that experience as well. But if you told me which guy at the end of the year you look up, who had the much better season, I would put a lot more money on Jack right now than Carter.
Well, and when he came up, it was so bad. I think June 20th. No, it's before that. Let's see. No, it was after that, sorry. June 22nd was the last time he took an at-bat in the major leagues last year and saw a 2 as the first number in his batting average. From June 24th on, it was a 1 the rest of the way. He never got back over 200. So every time he went back up to the plate the rest of the season, it was batting 1-something. Now, he got sent back down to the minors for, August. Spends August down in Omaha. Kills the ball again when he's down there. But since that trip back to Omaha, before that for Jack, his on-base percentage in June and July was 205. That was his on-base percentage, was 205. September last year, his on-base percentage was 310. His on-base percentage this year is 314. So, is he a 340, 350 on-base percentage guy? No, but I don't really expect him to be that when the guy's going to be, batting 240, 250. Now, if he starts mashing the baseball and people start pitching around him more, like maybe they've done a little with Bobby, and swing decisions become a little more disciplined, like Bobby has become, and the walk percentage goes up, then maybe then certainly that on-base percentage goes up as well. But being a guy that went down to the minors, came back up in September, and, he only batted 180 for September, but he got on base at 310. And he's batting 246, but he's getting on base at 314 this year. So it's a little different than getting on base at 200, which is what he did the first couple of months in the big leagues. So it's been different since he got recalled from Omaha to start September last year.
I think the funniest stat I've seen, based on what we thought was going to happen, Carter has more home runs. Jack has a higher average.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us. And now again, no. I know it's only 49 games in, all of that, but I do think it's funny. Even 49 games in, I don't think anyone would have had. Yeah, you taken with a higher average. We're all going to take Carter. Who has more home runs? We're all taking Jack. Now both are very close.
Mm-hmm.
Jack's 246, Carter's 236. 5 home runs for Jack, 6 for Carter, but I still think it's kind of a little funny to me.
It's just sort of looking back now. I mean, in the month that he spent in August, a month of August that he spent in Omaha, I mean, he goes down there and plays like 20 games and hits 5 home runs.
Yeah.
It's just like 5 home runs, 5 doubles, almost as many walks and strikeouts, and just like hammering the baseball, a 430 on-base percentage, a 360 batting average, a 700 slug in 20-something games, and it's like, okay, well, that's what it's like. Well, go down to AAA, and what's he there to learn in AAA? Like, he is mashing and destroying that pitching. It's different at the big leagues, but what's he gaining by just simply destroying that pitching down there, as opposed to getting the real-time trial by fire, hands-on training of having to be a batter in the big leagues against righties and lefties, and, see what happens.
That vulture is chasing birds right now. That was
Well,
crazy. That was wild. We just saw
with Rasheed Rice in jail, everybody got to eat. So
everybody got to eat, apparently.
Turkey vulture's taking over.
They got food in jail.
That was crazy.
Vultures
I just
are out.
watched like a cop's chase between small birds and a turkey vulture.
Bad boys.
Why do you think we've talked so much about Cags and less so about Carter? Like why? Is it just because of the draft position? Is it because the majority of folks have
That's a good question.
The potential of Cags being a middle-of-the-order bat and Carter's more of a maybe leadoff, maybe. But still, I still feel like we think of Carter as a 5-hitter or a leadoff guy.
I think we talk more about Cags than Carter because the outfield was so bad. I'm thinking on the fly of a number of different reasons.
Because we've done it so well. This is not
right, absolutely.
I'm not just saying fans. I'm saying us too.
The outfield was so bad that Cags felt like more of the answer to that spot, where Salvi was still playing pretty well. Carter a third-rounder, as opposed to Cags being the number 6 overall pick. Cags being a guy that people thought was going to be the number 1 overall pick, and being, Jack Toney at Florida, and a two-way player. So you draft him where you thought he might go number 1. You get him at number 6, and he puts up just Aaron Judge AA and AAA numbers, where Carter wasn't average, but he was like getting on base at 370, 400. It's like, well, Carter keeps getting on base. It's what he does. He's got a great approach. He's got a really mature eye. He has an idea of the strike zone, and he's had that his whole life, so it's a gift. But, he's not going to hit 45 home runs in the big leagues. He's going to get on base. Where Cags offered that element of, can he be a 6 years of control Soler? The Soler year when he, broke the Royals record.
That's a good call.
It's like, man, if this guy, can you have this guy in the middle of your lineup for the next 5 years and he hits 40 home runs and gets on base at 340? That changes everything about this Royals team, and he's your corner outfielder. It's different rather than Carter might hit 15 to 20. He's going to get on base at 370. Pretty good. catcher that maybe then you hand the baton off to Salvi, where it was waiting open, nobody there to block you if you're Cags in the outfield.
I think it has everything to do with the duration of how long he was in the minors. He was the 6th overall pick, and then he ran through the minors and was hitting home runs night after night. And for, baseball is different. You draft the guy, and it takes 3 or 4 years to go through the minor leagues.
If you're a high school kid.
Cags was up pretty much, what?
He was less than a year.
Less than a year.
Yeah, because he got drafted in July and he came up in June.
It's way easier for a fan base to maybe get behind the fact that he was also the 6th overall pick, get behind that, and then he is progressing through the minors quicker than most prospects do. I think it was just easier for fans to gravitate towards that player because they saw him get drafted, and then very quickly they saw him making an impact.
Yeah,
I think so.
But Carter was drafted. He got up quick for a high school kid.
For a high school kid, but you knew. I think that's. Sorry to cut you off, but I actually think that's part of it because when you draft a high school kid, even though he's a local kid, it almost feels like out of sight, out of mind.
Sure.
When Jack, it was like this guy could be up. He could start the season next year with the big league club. Sure. You get him signed and get him into your system. He wasn't good in 24 after they drafted him. In fact, he was pretty bad in that time in the minors. He didn't hit the ball. He didn't get on base. He didn't hit for power. And then he went into the offseason and did some things and got to spring training, and it was like, okay, this guy is now hit. And then he got to double-A. He'd like, all right, now it's time. But I think, Sterling, with Carter, the high school versus college, doesn't it feel like you draft a high school kid, okay, we'll see. We'll see.
I do think that a good amount, unless it's literally like Bryce Harper. There was a couple names that really stood out in the high school era, that range. But I just find it a little interesting. And again, I've become part of the issue, if it's even an issue at all, of I find myself gravitating towards Cags, yet Carter, all he's done is, even during the slump, still OPS at 734.
Yeah.
Even for all the defensive inconsistencies that we've witnessed and watched, and sometimes my thoughts, the analytics you can find stats to almost help your case. He's still ranked out as an above-average defensive catcher, which I found very surprising to me with a lot of the miscues that he's had.
The catching part could improve.
But, again, it just feels like, and maybe it's a good spot for Carter to be in, of where the eyes are a little off of him, and it's all been on Jack. Because it does feel like we've all tried to tap Jack as the next face of this youth movement, and then Carter is sitting here a little in the wings going, all I've done is produce.
Is there an element of that because, we look at players that are doing sort of the expectation, and then you immediately move on to, okay, yeah, but what is this guy doing? Where Carter's playing, it's like, well, this is kind of what you thought Carter would be anyway, but if you can get Jack.
Yeah, I think you're
right.
right.
If you can get Jack going and Jack doing this.
It's the size, it's the tape measuring home runs. It's always going to be more tantalizing than the 15 to 20 home run, 800 OPS. But again, an 800 OPS catcher, as we've seen for a long time in Kansas City, in Perez, you see how valuable that is, right? You look around the landscape of baseball right now. How many catchers do that? Cal Raleigh did it for a year.
He's not doing it this year.
Jonah Heim did it for a year.
Yeah.
Yasmani Grandal did it for a couple of seasons because of the walk-in slug, and White Sox fans wanted to say that he was the best catcher in baseball.
Yeah, Contreras
but again,
you're talking about few.
We're talking very few, and the Royals have been lucky to have it for so long with Salvi. Carter, I don't think, and maybe if he was in a different team, the understanding of look at the OPS that's being put up by a catcher, guys.
Yeah.
It's a catcher. Maybe that's part of it as well, but
I think it has to do with the high school kid. I think it has to do that he's sort of doing what kind of was expected of him, where it's like now, boy, you get Cags doing this.
Yeah.
You add that, you got Bobby. There's your potential of the nucleus moving forward of this team for a long time with Michael and Bobby under contract and Cags and Carter in their first year of team control.
I'll give Carter this too. That throw I think it was last night, right? On the pickoff?
Oh, yeah.
The throw down to second was electric. That ball.
All Bobby had to do was catch it.
That was
beautiful.
Perfection.
Yeah. They had some great. The Royals defense had some really good throws in throwing the Red Sox out on the base pads. They just gave some back themselves as well, because you had that throw, you had the relay from Lane to Bobby, you had the Jack, assist at home.
Right.
It was three guys that they threw out on the base pads. One at second, one at third, and one at home. And they still scored 7 last night. The Royals only got thrown out on the base paths twice. What are we complaining about? They were +1 in outs on the base paths. +1 last night. Just -6 in runs. Although Q did let us know it was 2-1 heading to the 8th last night. Like,
it's only an 8-inning game.
It was 2-1.
It's funny because
if it was 8-inning game, they'd have lost 3, but it's 2-1 heading to the 8th.
It's funny because even if they
7-inning game
ended the game in the 8th, they still lose.
Yeah, but it was 2-1 heading to the 8th.
It was 2-1, so they lose by 1.
Heading to the 8th. It was 2-1. He wasn't lying about that. Where's on next? Wrapping up this hour, Mick Schaefer will join us coming up in the next hour. KSHB 41 Sports Director, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Adam Schefter weighing in on the rehab for Rashee Rice with the cleanup surgery that he had, now that he'll be spending the next month in jail. And Albert Breer, we'll hear from him as he put out a podcast and talking about it this morning about the Chiefs and the personal conduct policy with the NFL and what the Chiefs may do if they go and readdress the A.J. Brown potential trade, since the Chiefs were on the list of A.J. Brown of teams that he would want to go to. Mick Schaefer next.
Twitter thinks he's funny.
Shame on you nerds.
His wife and kids think he's lame.
No!
We couldn't get Paul, so we're stuck with Mick.
Yep. Okay, still got it going on.
Mick Schaefer on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
Mick Schaefer with us, KSHB 41 Sports Director, presented by Advent Hill Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Hello, Mick. How are you?
What's up, boys?
You got the lake ahead of you for Memorial Day weekend. What do you got?
No.
Darn it. I wish today was Friday.
For a living.
What?
You're
Since
not.
when?
I'm sure he'll have. He'll be going to 3 lakes, one for each of us.
Where are you going to take your tarps off
Are you on
at?
a bros trip with the boys or a boys trip with the bros this weekend? I can never keep track.
Where are the tarps coming off at?
Oh, tarps coming off, boys or bros?
Yeah.
Again, I don't know.
Skies out, thighs out.
I'm actually going to go give my time to the soup kitchen and only read books at the library. How dare you?
Yeah, the library.
That's trying
the
hard,
library
too.
is a bar right next to the food spot named the Soup Kitchen on the lake.
Actually,
on the lake.
It's actually an Ole Miss.
Mile
The
marker
library is a
15.
great bar. It's in Oxford, Mississippi. It's phenomenal. I love the library down there. I'll tell you what.
Right next to mile marker 15.
No, honestly,
you'll meet them there.
I think I'm just going to golf.
Oh man, 72 holes on like Saturday. Yeah,
Tarps off golfing.
tarps
though?
off.
No, because I respect the course until it gets to about 7 p.m. and
Then tarps off.
like the little bird made it, like the little
Oh,
cardinal.
he didn't get killed?
I saw that bird getting chased by
No
the
chance
turkey
that's a
vulture.
cardinal.
No, that's not a cardinal. No, that's got a.
I saw his tarps off.
It's not a. Oh, I see what you said. The St. Louis Cardinals are.
Yeah,
going
there you
tarps
go.
off right now.
Gotcha.
That makes total sense. Yeah. No, that turkey vulture was out for that thing.
Did you see, apparently in the stands last night, I didn't see it on the Royals broadcast, but I think it was on the Red Sox broadcast, some kid sitting up in some 300 section all by himself, and in all the chairs around him, he wrote one letter at a time on a placard, "I suck at fantasy football."
That was good, dude. That was strong.
Great punishment. And he just sat there by himself
awesome.
the whole game.
How old was
And
he?
I don't know, like probably Broseff's age over here.
I
Something
thought it was like
that.
a little kid.
Well, yeah,
like a
little
12
kid.
I see
Yes,
what you're saying.
little kid.
Yeah.
You actually are brosive.
My name's Joseph.
Yeah, so you're brosive, dude.
Oh God, do you hear yourself when you talk? Anyway, so he's just sitting there, and so the Red Sox broadcast had it. I think it got put out on Barstool
How
or
did
something
the
like
Royals
that.
not bring attention
I
to
don't
that?
know. Come on, boys.
Would have been right up the alley of Hosmer.
Hey, I'm going to the game tonight.
They played some fantasy
They better
football.
be the Royals.
Have they won a game with Hosmer doing
a great question.
the color analyst?
Great question. And the thing is, though,
because he's a star,
really good.
he's awesome.
He's really good.
He'll be like ESPN network in a couple years. But I don't remember a single game they've won when he's been on the broadcast.
And I'll say
Now they've only won 20 of their 29 or whatever, or 20 of their 49.
But it's all been with Rex. That's the thing. It's all P90 Rex. If we could just have more of that, it would be perfectly fine. Hosmer has been really good, and the last 2 nights, not just the last 2 nights, but other times as well, but specifically the last 2 nights, he has answered one of the questions that I had for him is, would he criticize players' mistakes that they make? On Monday night, Michael Massey and his secondary, when he said he stopped, and to me it was a bad read as to where the third baseman was, and then he still sends him and he gets thrown out. And last night, Garcia, well, you're not running out of the box, and as soon as you slow it, you can't go. Once you throttle down and you're stopping, you can't go to second. Like, he called out Massey with the secondary and his feet stopping, and then Garcia dogging it. He didn't necessarily say, look at him lazy out of the box, but it was like, well, when you're not running that hard out of the box, it was a criticism while also still, I think, delicately learning of where, like Lefevre, Rex would certainly offer that. And I think Hosmer is still in the learning process of, okay, how much do I criticize? All right, I'm not going to call him lazy for loafing, but once you slow down, you can't go to second. But at least he offered the criticism and not just, oh, what a great throw by that guy.
Yeah.
Got him. You read the throw, you go to second, blah, blah, blah.
I'm so tired of and I get why on the broadcast you're getting paid by the organization, but it's even afterward in Q and talking about like Everybody's just so babied. It's like, okay, Vinny struck out there. There were 2 guys on, and he looked at strike 3. But that tells me that, okay, maybe he's not swinging anything out of the strike zone or something like that. It's always an excuse. They're like they're 10 years old.
It's always like, well, he's been horrible with runners in scoring position, but we had a runner in scoring position, guys. Don't forget that. Like when Lane Thomas got thrown out at 30, and he had to go to start the conversation with, well, he hustled to second base.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Lane Thomas is just smart. You know where Vinny struggles? Runners in scoring position. You know what Lane Thomas did? Take a runner out of scoring position. That's chess, not checkers. Do we want to hear from Lane Thomas? Let's do that. Let's hear Lane Thomas last night. We heard Michael Garcia say that it was his fault that he wasn't running out of the box as hard as he could. He heard Damon say go.
Who else would?
So he did make sure to pass off some of the blame to Damon Hollins that he said go. So he definitely wanted to make sure that I was told to go to second. That's the only reason I went, even though I wasn't hustling and running hard. Here's Lane Thomas was asked about, hey, what happened in the 6th inning or the 5th inning? No, 6th inning with getting caught at third and some of the base running mistakes of this team.
So obviously we're not scoring a lot of runs right now. I felt like if I get to third, we had some good stuff on that certain pitcher. He just held a little longer the first couple ones. I timed it up right and trying to get to third right there with less than 2 with Vinny up, that's just something I thought might help us get on the board. So, it's an aggressive, I don't even want to call it a mistake, but, just trying to get the offense going a little bit.
What's the balance between being aggressive and also, staying within yourself on the base path when you have guys up that can drive you guys in? Or
as an offense, we're just not swinging right now. I think that's a way to get runs on the board is be aggressive on the base paths and, I think the next pitch he flew out, which, if I'm safe right there, it's another run on the board. So I think as a whole, we just got to be aggressive and just keep trying to score runs and win games.
So a couple things there. One, he's voicing what we've all wondered of like, well, you're getting thrown out because are you pressing? You're not scoring runs, so now you're trying to do too much on the base paths, and that's exactly what he's saying is, well, we haven't been scoring, so I'm trying to get over there so we can find a way to get a run in.
I agree with that mindset. Just be better and don't do it.
It is a mistake
before a pitch. It is a mistake.
It is.
Absolutely, it's a mistake.
Yeah, and also, by the way, credit the pitcher too. As he said, I timed it up perfectly the first 2. Next one I went, he held it longer. Got him. Okay, well, that sucks. Well, then maybe the pitcher was smart enough to see that maybe he's timing me up a little bit, or maybe there was a sign of like, hey, maybe hold a little bit longer or give him an extended look back there at second base, and he's out, and then Vinny does fly out. But, trying to make something happen on the base paths, I get it. I'm more okay with that one than I am with Michael Garcia. The Michael Garcia one, I'm not okay with because he was loafing. At least Lane Thomas.
Why do we allow this? I mean, in a span of a 3-hour game, you're asked to run hard 3 or 4 times.
That's it.
And it doesn't happen with most players.
Yeah, that's it.
Never mind, you have the best baseball player in the world in Bobby Witt Jr. doing it every single time.
I don't think I've ever seen him dog it down to first.
No, and he shouldn't because he's the fastest guy out there. But everybody else dogs it. That from Michael to Salvi to everybody. Oh, it's put my head down. I rolled it over to second. Give me some fake hustle.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Give me some fake. 1 time out of 100, they're going to bobble it. I'm glad you brought up the one the other night with Garcia where he could have been safe had he not been loafing out of the box. It's like I'm too cool to try after I probably grounded out.
But also too cool to run fast, hard to first because I just laced a line drive into right field, so now I can just do a little bat flip and then, jog down to first. If Jack grounds out and just ducks his head, he's not safe at first in the first inning. He was safe in the first inning.
I don't know what they were doing.
I'm not sure. I'm counting that as a Bill Duplessis win. Right, that was
it. Should be there should be an asterisk
he was safe
there.
But yeah, you're right. It just seems like it's not asking a whole lot in that, and it feels very little league to be like, hey, you run it out. Okay, cool. This isn't 12-year-old baseball. These guys are major leaguers.
I mean, just think of the other sports. I mean, football, every play. Like if there's a wide receiver dogging it, you're on him. You don't do that. That's not something you do. You sprint every play, and there's 70 plays in the game.
Imagine
you're having
hockey.
to do that.
You're just getting rocked.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I driving in this morning hearing Boddicker talk about it because last night watching the game we see it happen and they show the replay and I'm sitting there watching with my son. I'm like, That's why you run hard out of the box, because you never know what's going to happen. I said the issue was not him trying to take second. That's the right play. He read it like we've been working on. You see the ball go over the cutoff. You take the extra base. He read it fine, but it's the problem with that he was stopping and he wasn't taking that route around first to kind of make sure you're there if anything happens. And then driving in this morning, and Bodeker's like, you can't be lazy like that. That's the only reason. I'm like, thank you, because driving in, my son is listening. I'm like, see, this guy
he wasn't going to listen to you, but he listens to other people. Yes.
Exactly. I'll tell him to do something, and then another coach will tell him to do something. He's like, oh, okay, that makes total sense. And jackass over here never told me that.
And also, you're 20-29.
Yes.
100%.
If you're 29-20, I can understand a little bit of like
I took something for granted.
We've been playing well, and all right.
Yes.
I keep saying, Mick, they do the big things poorly and the little things worse. The little things they just don't do.
100%.
Hustling. Vinny at first base, a chance to turn 2, doesn't get any because he just doesn't keep his head down.
He got ahead of himself.
Lane
he was trying
Thomas,
to turn 2 before
Michael
catching
Massey. It just this team.
What was Lane Thomas doing in center field last night?
Looking at butterflies.
He
came up once thinking he had the ball in his glove to throw, and it was 10 feet behind him.
I
and then he
credit
spikes the throw.
Yeah.
And then 2 other misplays out there.
I credit him for the great throw to Bobby on the relay to Duran. The issue is Isbell catches the ball. It doesn't actually land on the warning track. Isbell takes the route and catches it, not runs to his left, and then sees it over his head and takes 2 steps back,
Isbell
and it
also
lands.
catches the one sliding in, coming towards second base.
Yeah.
It's exact. They're bad at the big things and even worse at the little
because
things.
they don't do sack flies. They're horrible.
No, there's no situational.
They're bad at bunting. Like I don't know.
The two strike swings with runners on when shorten up, put something in play, let a guy take a base. They don't exist. They're just as big as if the count's 2-0 or 3-1.
Their pitchers throw all these wild pitches, yet it feels like they don't ever. They're thrown out before the wild pitches get thrown by the other pitcher.
That's right. It was Marte did move up to second with the wild pitch.
Right,
like 2 pitches later before then he flew out. That's right.
It's just.
It's funny.
I don't get this team. Can you name one thing they do well outside of Bobby? Bobby does everything well.
So I think this is a team that does. They don't know their identity. They are playing for big innings that just simply don't come.
Yeah.
Maybe for a week stretch or 10-day stretch, they'll average 5.5, 6 runs a game. But then they're going to fall back into this crap. And if I have a runner, this is how I watch the Royals. If they get a runner on second with nobody out, I'm like, all right, trade 2 outs for a run. Just do it. Trade 2 outs for a run.
Bunt
roll over on 1.
Bunt fly ball.
Yes, 100%.
Bunt fly ball.
Runner at third, 1 out. I'm like, trade a sack fly. Let's get him home. Let's put. I don't need a crooked number, right? I just don't need a 0 there. Just and normally I know we're getting hurt here and guys aren't performing. Normally the pitching staff's going to be good enough for if you get 4 or 5 runs, you're going to win the game. They're not getting close to that.
No.
And just the swings I see with 2 strikes and the bad situational hitting. And I mean, was it last night? Bases loaded, and I'm like, strikeouts coming. There it was. And then came the ground ball double play. That was 2 nights ago, I think.
Yeah, it was Monday night.
But it's not like they hit home runs either.
That's right.
It's not like they're just out here, we'll make it up.
They should be the 14 and 15 team of like, let's just put the ball in play.
Move the fences in. They should do that.
Yeah.
More.
Let's
Michael, can we play this clip? Let's hear from, this is Adam Schefter on his podcast he put out this morning as we make a very quick turn into something else, because we're going to play Rotten Tomatoes in the next segment. But here's Adam Schefter talking about the cleanup that Rashee Rice had on his knee, and now rehab in jail, apparently. Here's Adam Schefter on Rashee Rice in the next month.
This is really remarkable to me. It's Memorial Day weekend, and as we record this, Tuesday morning, and as will be the case for the next 29 days, Rashee Rice will remain in a Dallas County jail. He will remain in a Dallas County jail at a time where he just underwent knee surgery last week to clean up his knee. So now the rehab that he was supposed to do with his medical staff, the chief's medical staff, wherever and whoever he was going to be doing it with, he's now going to be in a jail cell. And the rehab was supposed to be about 2 months. That would put him on track to be ready for the start of training camp. Now, I don't know what happens when you spend the first 30 days in jail and you're essentially in charge of your knee. I don't think there are any trainers at the Dallas County Jail. And so what I think of here is the opportunity that he's squandering. Take a look around the league and what's gone on this offseason and in recent off seasons. Jackson Smith-Njigba landed a deal that is paying him over $42 million on average. Last offseason, we saw Jamar Chase get paid a deal over $40 million. We got Justin Jefferson, 35, CeeDee Lamb, 35, DK Metcalf over 32, Garrett Wilson over 32, A.J. Brown over 32. If Rashee Rice were a clean player with no off-the-field issues, with no injuries, we'd be talking about a new contract this offseason in excess of $40 million a year. I hope he wakes up, grasps the gravity of his decisions and actions, and becomes the great player that he is and compensated accordingly. But the way it's going right now, he's going to cost himself millions of dollars in my mind.
Lots and lots of millions of dollars.
Millions.
Yeah, I don't know if $40 million was going to be an annual average, but what he's
30 maybe.
I think his point is
knows his agent.
Yeah,
but if he didn't have all of these things off the field,
JSN money. Wasn't that
he did.
him?
Yeah, it was him. He said he went on that Twitch stream
to be
or whatever.
fair, I want that too.
I also would like JSN money. I'll take JSN's Defensive Player of the Year award. I mean, I'll take that too. I don't care if he doesn't want it.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Dyer. But like. Also, I don't think he was recording that on Tuesday morning, since that news came out at like 1 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. He recorded that on Wednesday morning before the podcast came out. Because if he recorded that yesterday morning and then wasn't the one to break the news about Rashee Rice and account, I'd wonder.
By the way,
what's
this
going
is a
on
small thing, but I counted up. So he's due to get out June 16th.
June 16th.
He went in yesterday, the 19th. Even if you count the 19th and June 16th days, that's only 29 days.
Interesting.
Every single day.
So maybe he went on a Monday?
Well, a lot of people.
On the actual document, they said he's booked on the 19th on Tuesday. So
I think a lot of people have to like go through rehab in jail. Just not
Just
for
different
injuries, different types. But
yeah, what do you think the rehab specialists are for an ACL cleanup in your knee for the next 30 days? So
Bubba 4 cells down. He can do it.
I picture Dallas County Jail.
It's not even
that
PT, but it's just the jail though. It's not even the prison.
True,
It's just a jail.
Don't you picture like cartoons where like the guard is asleep, like with a big bushy mustache, and Rasheed's trying to get the keys,
the big old keys,
the keychain, he's trying to get the keys.
Circle. Yes, and a big old ring.
Yeah,
like a broomstick trying to bring it back.
Yeah.
And Rashee Rice.
And anytime he tiptoes, you hear the little keys on a piano.
Hey, what are you doing over there?
That's the rootin' tootin'est thing I've ever seen.
Oh man! Now I want that to be the case. Now I want that.
That's
to
what
be
I picture down there.
I want that to be the actual jail where he's serving the 30 days.
So I don't gladly know the difference between a prison cell and a jail cell. Will he have a roommate, multiple roommates by himself? How's that work in Dallas County Jail?
I don't think so. I think it's just.
Are you in there with a lot of people holding?
I don't know if
drunk cell for 30
I don't know if
days.
there's like gen pop, because I don't know if there are many people in like the actual jail there instead of just like holding cells and things like that, as opposed to you're in prison now.
Jail versus prison.
Really?
And do we
like you don't know, Sterling?
Do we? Hey, if you go, do not have that haircut or that mustache or wear those clothes if you go to prison. Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Jail.
You're telling me back when you were in elementary school and junior high, you weren't scared straight? We did that. No,
Jails,
we did not.
Jails are short-term, locally run facilities for people awaiting trial or serving
I
brief
know that.
sentences.
I just don't know, like, what is
like
the cell situation
Okay,
look like?
jail cell situation.
You don't have cell phones there, or they do?
Cell differences. Because I don't think
All right.
situations will actually.
Here's the deal. He's still going to be on probation for another 4 years, I believe. Wasn't it a 5-year?
Right. Yeah.
What are the chances he doesn't get popped for that again?
4
Because
years and
it's
2
got to
months.
be the next punishment for that's got to be greater. 60 days, maybe 120 after that.
Okay, here we go. I got it. Design and layout. Often utilitarian, holding tanks or cells designed to hold multiple people. Prison cells built for long-term living. Those are more like your standard bunk beds, your desks.
But I mean, those holding cells, you can't stay in there for 30 days.
But you're thinking of like the one where there's like 6 or 7 people just waiting there. It's like you just got arrested sitting here. Wait a minute.
Somebody bailed you out.
Hold on. What's
what I see for the amenities section of jail cell versus
amenities?
Prison,
okay. Pool,
fitness
hot tub,
very basic
rehab facility,
low quality bedding,
breakfast,
and restricted. You think the beds at St. Joe might be bad in a dorm? I imagine those are going to feel pretty nice.
He's going to go to St. Joe. He's going to go to St. Joe's. Like, oh my God, this is beautiful.
How about this?
Wow.
Will he go to St. Joe? Will he have a team when he gets out?
No,
he shouldn't. Or do you have the faith in the Chiefs? Though?
No, he will. He'll be on the Chiefs. I don't think he should, but he will be.
Right. I don't have faith in the Chiefs to do that.
I said yesterday, I think Clark, Brett, and Andy should be wearing free from 4 shirts today. Boom, we're free from 4.
I think Clark will say, dude, we didn't get an international game. We didn't get a Christmas Day game. I'm already mad, and now this happens. This is why the Chiefs are in the news.
No.
Rice is done.
Nope. The only way Clark steps in is if Rasheed Rice looked at Clark Hunt and lied like Kareem Hunt did.
Well, they basically lied.
Other than that, no, but he had to lie to his face.
Broke their trust.
Lie to his face. If Rasheed Rice looked at Clark Hunt and said, I will not smoke weed.
Maybe he asked. Maybe he said, are you going to screw up again? He said, no. Maybe he counts that as
You know what?
Look,
then,
look at
then
this.
Do that.
It's really simple. Both Rasheed Rice and Patrick Mahomes are doing rehab on their knee in Texas.
Same thing.
It's a good point.
They're both doing rehab on their knee in Texas.
So what you're saying is Julie helps out Patrick, and then during visiting hours goes and helps out Rasheed in his rehab.
And then Mike, the deputy, is helping out Rasheed's.
But no, Julie already went over there during visiting hours.
Oh, you think so? I don't know. There's visiting hours in jail cell.
I'm not sure.
Is it conjugal PT visit?
I think it might just be visiting hours. I'm not sure. Although, can there be can you touch somebody else during? Because you got to put your hands on the knee and as they're
medical
working things out
there.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know.
Not what I'm thinking. I just keep thinking of the cartoon from Looney Tunes is what I can't think of anything besides
People need medical attention in jail and prison, so there's not. They probably don't have a resident doctor there at all times. That would suck. We're like, hey, I graduated doctor school. Where am I going to go? They're sending me to California Penal.
Well, at least Mitch Vaughn is there.
Leavenworth.
At least Mitch Vaughn is there in the California Penal League. Let's play this last clip. Here is Albert Breer as he weighs in on whether this rises to the level of the personal conduct policy for the NFL, which he was already suspended 6 games for. That would then be a second offense. And also the question about A.J. Brown. And the Chiefs were on the list of that A.J. Brown gave the Eagles that he would like to be traded to. Chiefs said thanks, but no thanks. Here's Albert Breer.
And the question becomes how this relates to the personal conduct policy. And this is a bit of a murky one because the NFL no longer suspends players for failing marijuana tests. However, this is a separate issue because it does relate to his probation. He obviously has prior track record with the personal conduct policy. So this is something that the Chiefs are going to have to deal with. And Rasheed Rice is somebody that they are relying on. They didn't spend a high draft pick on a receiver. They didn't spend a lot of capital in the offseason on the position. They were relying on Rasheed Rice, once again, to be their number 1 receiver, just like they were last year when they had a suspension at the beginning of the year. This clearly is a player that they have not been able to count on. Since drafting him a few years ago, they've felt all along like he has the potential to be a top 10 receiver in the NFL, and he has not become that, mostly because of the stuff off the field. And so this is another brick in that wall. And, of course, this is going to raise questions about how comfortable you feel going forward with him after this year, those big picture questions, and, of course, the smaller picture questions of what the Chiefs do at receiver now. Do they go back? Do they circle back and maybe look at the idea of trading for A.J. Brown? I don't think that happens. They had that opportunity. They were on A.J. Brown's list. They said no to the Eagles in the first place. But I think if you're the Chiefs, you have to look at all of these things going forward because Rasheed Rice clearly looks like somebody that you have not been able to rely on.
Yeah, I don't know that they go back to the Eagles because then the Eagles go, you're coming back to the table, huh? Yeah, it's still the asking price of what we would have liked to begin with. And now you're more desperate. So I don't think that is the case. But maybe the route is that they do trade for a receiver on a different team. And it might be
what is the asking price for A.J. Brown?
I think the Eagles want like a half of a franchise and a first-rounder.
We'll give you Rasheed Rice.
Whataburger count?
Yes.
We'll give you Rasheed Rice. How's that sound?
Yeah. Straight up.
He was a second rounder, and he's, you know what? He's a cultured man. He's spent a lot of time
Look,
in all different places.
He was going to miss OTAs anyway, as it turned out.
I'll tell you this: he'll get to Philadelphia fast. He'll be quick to get there. So yeah, there you go. If it goes to the personal conduct policy, I think Rasheed Rice has got some bigger issues.
I think it should, and I think it will.
That's up to the NFL to see how they do that. NFLPA would probably get involved and say this has nothing to do with personal conduct policy. You're then,
but and two, I mean, they're gonna. Who's to say they're not going to factor in, like, look, we looked the other way on the civil lawsuit you're facing right now from your girlfriend.
Yep.
And we all saw the pictures, too. And look, that's the one that's proven and all that stuff. But
and he did,
you were losing so much benefit of the doubt every one of these episodes here. So, yeah, no, we know it's weed and all that, but it is a violation of your probation. And you went to jail for a month. 29 days, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe he already served one day.
Maybe it was 4. It's gonna be 4 weeks. It's Tuesday to 4 Tuesdays after.
Yeah. So. It would be nice if he would have done that, but we'll see what happens moving forward. But he's already proven you can't rely on him. Not accountable, and you expect him to not do anything else while he's a chief.
You'd be a fool to expect that.
It took him 10 months. Took him 10 months. You told the kids in class, don't talk for 3 minutes, and some kid blurted out 30 seconds later. Like, you couldn't even do it.
His entire career's been dotted by off the field brushes with the law and injuries.
Yeah.
In one day, both those stories collide.
It's a great point. Gosh. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and you know what? Let's have some fun. We're going to play Rotten Tomatoes on the other side of the break. More Zone next.
that and be like, actually, I side with the criminal.
I'm good. Yes, absolutely. You know what?
The burglar.
You know what? I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do about this one. We're just going to go ahead and side with that. You know what? I agree. I think
you deserve to be robbed.
Yeah, that's right. What, people didn't hear that whole conversation? Oh, that's too bad. What are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? You know what you're going to do? You're going to probably play some Rotten Tomatoes. You guys want to do that?
I'd like to.
Want to play some you want to rotten these tomatoes here? Planted tomatoes there the other day, so hopefully they're not rotten.
I'll go first.
You want to go first? All right, go get it.
This is Rashee Rice's favorite movie, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Fast Times
because
at
he's
Ridgemont.
fast and
No way you've seen that.
Oh, yeah, of course. Spicoli, dude.
All right, Hamilton.
Of course it's Spicoli. Do you know this movie?
Do you?
No, I do not.
Son of a
Do you know this movie?
I'll tell you what.
You just
will not
named a
know one of my
character in
movies.
it.
It's 10 o'clock.
Of course I watched this movie.
It's
Sean
10 o'clock
Penn.
at night. Do you know where your kids are? You weren't old enough to hear that warning or that
The PSA.
PSA
Yeah.
that they used on the news. You guys still do that, Mick? You
We
that
don't do
PSA for the
PSAs.
10 o'clock news when you come over?
Maybe
come on
like
and go,
in the
"It's
wee
10
hours
o'clock."
of the morning we
You know where your
air
kids
them.
are?
Yeah. Your brain on drugs.
Some good parts in this movie for sure.
But Phoebe Cates, I'm sorry, pretty, beautiful, way overrated. People went way too bonkers for Phoebe Cates.
Yeah, but it was part of the
showing
movie.
that at that time.
Fast Time. Yeah, that was kind of what it was. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. All right.
Critics,
Michael.
critics, the cynics.
I'll say I've never heard of the movie. I'll say.
Oh my god.
How's that possible?
69.
Oh, nice. Well, you know what?
I'll go 75.
I will go 78.
You son of a gun, 78.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Thank
the worst.
you, Nicholas.
You're the worst, Mick.
All right. You're the
I
worst.
try not to be the worst. Sometimes I'm like second or third worst.
Yeah, I just
Daryl's
try
the
not to be
worst.
the slowest so I don't get eaten by the gator. All right, your first movie, Michael.
Nope, wait.
I'm sorry, Mick, sorry.
We haven't played this in a while, have
I
we?
put 2 points down, so I thought we had already done it
now
twice.
you're the worst.
I'm not used to getting 2 points on one question. All right, what do the fans think of Fast Times?
It's got to be higher than the critics, I guess, so I'll go 81.
I'm going to go 84.
Stop the count. 80%.
Let's
Doesn't
go.
matter.
Dang it.
He
Let's
gets
get
one.
there.
Just one, but he gets the point.
Oh, yeah.
Take it.
Yep, just one. Sorry, Michael. Like I said, Michael, what's your first movie?
Also in the theme of Rashee Rice, my first movie is Jailbait. It is a movie
I don't
from
think that's what it means.
1954. A fleeing killer forces a plastic surgeon to give him a new face.
What year was this?
1954.
Oh, I think there's a different Jailbait movie.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
thinking
there's
of. Yeah.
a different
What are you
one.
thinking of?
Maybe it's Jailbreak, but Jailbait, yes, I'm thinking of that. 1954. What happens? It's
A fleeing killer forces a plastic surgeon to give him a new face.
Oh, Face Off.
That's Face Off.
they had plastic surgery.
Travolta
in
and Cage.
in 1954.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like a mask.
This got to be a nothing burger of a movie. I'm gonna go 41.
25.
You guys are both wrong. It's going to be pretty good. I'll go 73.
Jason gets a 29.
Yeah.
Wow. Sean,
You're very you added three very confident sentences there.
Yeah, I was.
The fans.
Maybe he knows this.
The fans, 11%.
No, this was a cult classic.
cult classic.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was 73%.
For real? Okay, so what was it's between you and me here.
It was 21 or 29 or 20 something.
What was the
The
critics?
tomato meter was 29.
29.
You said
yeah.
11, I
and I
think.
went 11.
I went 73.
Yeah, you
there's a
did. So
big-
it's between us. I'm gonna go 19.
19 on the dot.
Oh no!
You guys don't know
I
about
just
that
think
movie.
that if I talk it through, just think it through.
It's
I
3 to
get
3.
these.
Are you guys going to play, Sterling, Michael?
I thought it was a cult classic, personally.
All right, very good. I guarantee Mick won't get any points here. Mick, your first movie.
I won't in honor of Memorial Day.
Oh yeah, that's a
the
better
high
honor.
road
That's
here.
a better honor.
Saving Private Ryan.
Ooh, critics 97.
94.
Yeah, I went.
you
I went.
did it
I
to
went
him.
too
You
high.
did it to him.
As soon as I said 97,
dot.
I wanted to
Yeah.
go 94.
On the dot.
Oh, on the board.
I swear, as soon as I went 97, I'm like, I should have gone 94. God darn it. Man, I spoke too soon. All right, what did the fans think of Saving Private Ryan? Did they like it? Did they save him?
Yeah, they liked it at 95%.
Double again.
No freaking way.
Michael's just not getting to play over here.
Michael, are you going to play it all?
Four spot. Have we ever done that?
Wow, that's a 4 spot. That's strong.
Has one person ever done a 4 spot?
I don't know. Well, he got me riled up. He said, "Go on the board," and so what did I do? Hit a grand salami.
Man, that was a grand slam.
What's high score mean? Did I break it? Can we not play anymore?
That is the highest score you can possibly get.
Game's called I win.
Game's called I win. Just gave him the easy one. All right. In honor of absolutely nothing whatsoever, a member of their crew gets arrested for killing a New York City police horse by feeding it junk food. 3 slackened stoners are forced to get off their butts and raise bail by selling pot stolen from a pharmaceutical lab. Risky plan, but hey, these are stand-up guys who would do anything to help out a friend in need. Half-baked.
Yeah, you made a reference to this yesterday. Was it today?
I think it was today.
Yeah.
Did you look it up?
No, I swear
Good.
I didn't. I swear.
Okay.
I saw it a long time ago.
Yeah, and you were half-baked.
I can't imagine it got great ratings. I'll go like 52%.
Dave Chappelle.
I'll say
Jim Brewer.
73%.
Oh, man.
Harlan Williams.
I'm gonna
Rachel
have to
True
go
playing the role of Mary Jane.
in between and go 60.
What did you say?
52.
Oh, you were so close. 28.
You're in it.
So 24.
I got it. Yeah.
Yep, you got it. Yep, that's what I said. You're so close. Darn it.
Wow,
even
that
though
was
so-
not good.
Yes.
I'm surprised.
But
I'd be
was
little
it
more
a
than that.
cult classic, Michael?
Yeah, I'm surprised too.
82.
Call it a game. 81.
Holy crap.
Michael is
kind
on
of
the
is a
board.
cult classic.
What kind of gap is that? From
28
what to what?
81.
Wow.
That is a definition of a cult
That's a
classic
cult
right
classic.
there. As it is. It's a cult classic. That's right. Sterling, your second movie.
In honor of the Royals, my old ass, because my old ass is tired of watching this team.
Okay.
My old ass is sick and tired.
Show us my old ass.
This movie is coming of age story. An 18th birthday mushroom trip brings back free-spirited Elliot face to face with her wisecracking 39-year-old self, Aubrey Plaza.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's about like
I
your
thought-
old ass.
I thought this was going to be like something from like the 60s or 70s.
This
but Aubrey
came out
Plaza.
in 2024.
How about that? What did the critics think?
About my old ass.
58%.
Mick.
39%.
Would you go?
I said 58.
64.
No one gets it. 90.
Oh no!
Wow.
What? The critics loved old ass.
The critics like the newer bad movies.
The critics
That's what I've
love
noticed.
my old
Yep,
ass.
I get it. Yep. No. Yep. I get it. I get it for sure. Mick, what did the fans think of my old ass?
Is
it's
it
a movie.
Is
Come
it a
on.
Coke classic?
It's a choice of a new generation.
73%.
76. Darn
50.
It. Darn it. I was hoping Mick got me.
89.
What is
Yes,
happening
that's
with
a point for me, though.
Dude, the fans love my old ass.
Yeah, what's not to love?
They stood up and cheered.
Michael, your
for
second
my
movie.
old ass.
Your second movie, Michael.
Got to turn the mic on. My second movie is The Pineapple Express.
Oh, good
There
movie.
we go.
There we go. What did the critics think of Pineapple Express?
Gotta be down there with Half Baked, right? It's the same movie.
I was worried when you were reading the description that it was the same movie.
45%.
I'm going to say it was like 64.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, too. I think critics like us more for some reason. I'm going to say 67.
Sterling took it 68.
Jiminy Christmas.
We're setting Sterling up.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Not on. I got
Feel
also
bad for him.
private.
Feel bad for him.
Ryan's private.
Nope. Saving Private Ryan. You got Ryan's private saving.
Yeah.
Ryan saving privates. Let's see. What did the fans think of this one? I'm going to say the fans liked it. It was like an 86%.
I thought this movie was pretty overrated personally,
So
but
it's
a lot
overrated
of people
then.
liked it. I'll go 79.
76.
73.
Let's go. I needed that.
There you go. Mick Schaefer with a point. Mick, your second movie.
In honor of my kid graduating, The Graduate, Dustin Hoffman.
Nice. That's going to be at 93.
88.
Winner, 87.
Oh my
just
gosh.
send him up.
Say
That wasn't set me up. I went
too.
five less. I mean, I just no ball.
Yes. What did the what did the fans think of it?
1% higher. 88. Dang it! I wanted to see your reaction.
92.
I still got it right. We'll see.
95.
Chop it in half. It's 90.
Okay.
Darn it.
Should have just gone
so
3
it's,
ahead.
My Darcy 1.5. All right, my final movie. In the far northern hemisphere, the small town of Barrow, Alaska, experiences a solid month of darkness every year, 30 days of night, with no theme whatsoever. This is with Josh Hartnett. 30 days of night.
What's the scores right now?
It is 7.5 for Sterling, 6.5 for Mick Schaefer, or 4, whatever. 4 for me, and then Michael Darcy 1.5. So
I got 6.5 for real.
No, you
now.
got 4.
Okay.
How do I have a half point?
We split one.
You just split it.
The
They
very
just-
most
We
recent
just
one.
had. Are you half baked, Rasheed? Is this your dealer?
I
Yes.
thought you said split it like I'm out.
Nope. That's not what it meant.
83%.
I meant banana splits.
So you have the critics at 83%.
Yeah.
79.
This is a horror, mystery, and thriller. Came out in 07.
76.
What'd you say?
79.
76.
76.
50. Sorry, folks.
Oh, I need to go
50.
75.
So close. 50. Last point available. Michael. Fans.
85.
65.
75.
56. Mick gets the point. That
Second
means
place.
Mick ends with second place. Darn it. There you go. 30 days of night.
Sterling
50.
wins. I have so many people to thank.